Welcome everyone to Gerald Prim Stadium here on Friday, October 7th as KSST Radio, KSST 1230 AM brings you Wildcat football in football's district opener as they host Nevada Community or the Community Braves. So we'll just be calling them the Community Braves as to avoid any confusion, just like last year when football played Lucas Lovejoy.
Right. Well, you're going to bring that up again, are you, Ross?
Of course. Brought up during pregame as well.
Right. Well, welcome to a beautiful night for football. Light winds outside, no chance of rain because we haven't had any rain here that we can even be worried about lately. The flags are not even moving on that end of the field. The drill team's already lined up waiting for the Wildcats to come out of their big inflatable helmet. 78 degrees here for the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff time. Will be coming up in about 13 minutes. And Ross, tell us about the Nevada Community and their head coach and what we're looking at here tonight. How are the Wildcats rated tonight in tonight's game?
Well, for the first time this season, they're not only, they were favored last time against Liberty Isla for homecoming, but this week it's the first time they've been favored big in a game, favored by 15 points, so over 2 touchdowns the Wildcats are picked to win. So finally, starting to get a little bit of respect out of the Dallas-Fort Worth sports riders, which we love to see, but it should be a good one as Nevada Community, even though they have a 3-2 record, they won their 2 straight games, but they did lose 2 out of 3. But this is a team that rushes and rushes hard. I mean, in 5 games, they have rushed for almost 1,400 yards as a team. So
oh, my goodness.
This is very much so 3 yards in a cloud of dust type of football team. And man, what a fun one it'll be as Community. Again, they lost 2 of their 3 first games, and weirdly enough, they lost 2 of those 3 games by their opponent getting 29 points. They lost in their opener 29-0, and then 2 weeks later, lost versus Sanger 29-28.
So they're big on the 29 for their opponents, aren't they?
Exactly. So it stands to reason that if Sulphur Springs can score 29 points here tonight, they stand a pretty good chance of getting a victory.
Well, there's some stats you don't see every day. Try to get to 29. Yeah, so that's a surefire way to win the ball game. I'm a little under the weather tonight. You can probably hear that. I may be coughing a little bit, trying not to, but just some allergies, as we've all had. I think it's the ragweed this year.
And even with the changing of the weather, which definitely has been felt by myself and so many others, you can definitely start to tell that we're slowly but surely starting to creep our way into fall, or as I like to call it, a buffer season between summer and winter.
Right, yes. It's just not, I think the seasons are earlier or fall and winter is later. But either way, it's 78 degrees, like we said, for kickoff time as it's coming up in just about 10 minutes. And I'd like to see it a little colder for football, but that's just me. A pretty good crowd already filtering in here at Gerald Prim Stadium for this home game. We've got probably 300 people in the home stands. A pretty good turnout on the Nevada side as well. Ross, over on the visitor side, they've already got about 100 people over there, which is a pretty good turnout, I think, for that community. They're over kind of in the Royce City area, I believe. Is that right? And so they're making the drive over here, so ought to be a good contest tonight.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Nevada Community, that's just as you were saying, kind of in the northeast Dallas area. I would say it's pretty closely removed from, I guess the nearest town would be Wiley. I should know this considering I'm literally the next town over in Allen, or at least I was born and raised there. But yeah.
Right, you're going to have to brush up on your geography there, Ross. So.
No kidding, but a lot of these fans here in Sulphur Springs know Nevada Community well because that's where Lady Cats softball has played in the playoffs the last 2 straight seasons.
Oh, that's right.
They are pretty familiar with that area, but of course, this is a little bit different because Nevada Community now comes to Sulphur Springs, and this is the first time these 2 schools schools have played each other since Sulphur Springs, of course, as many listeners already know, moved down to 4A.
Right.
And with this district opener, should be a good one, as previously mentioned, as they have rushed for almost 1,400 yards through 5 games.
Wow. So it's going to be an interesting contest tonight. I think we've got our usual players on tap for tonight. Ross, no injuries on the Wildcat side, correct?
No,
that we know of?
Absolutely right. But one thing Coach Faircloth did say this week is that his team was very fortunate because they had a lot of near injuries this week, actually. Like a lot of injuries, like CJ would kind of run a post and almost hit the field goal, but it looks like we've got the prayer coming up.
Yeah, I think so. We'll wait and try to hear that.
Apologies, we start with school songs.
I was doing two. Officials. Okay.
Thanks to the Brave Marching Band for performing their school song. Now we'll hear from Sulphur Springs.
Strong drum finish there for the Wildcat Band.
Of course, under the direction of Spencer Emmert, and those are both school songs. It's a bit redundant, but should have the prayer coming up from the chaplain here tonight.
Foundation would like to thank tonight's press box sponsor, Christus Mother Frances Hospital in Sulphur Springs. Christus Mother Frances Hospital is enjoying the game from the press box along with a dinner catered by the SSHS culinary students.
Yes, we'll be talking about the culinary students later.
Sulphur Springs for your support of the foundation.
Christus guest up in the press box tonight. We'll be waiting. And then no trailer here tonight. That orthopedic injury trailer that they have is down in Winsboro tonight, Ross.
Yeah, going to be missed here tonight.
They have of course, it travels around and goes to the different places that are served by the Christus family. That trailer that we told you about before, of course, sponsored by the Hopkins County Healthcare Foundation with a generous donation from Alliance Bank, and so that's a great thing to have. But they do have a tent on the side set up on the Wildcat side in case any injured players need to be go through the concussion protocol or be checked out right there on the side of the field. So they have that as well.
Yeah, it reminds you definitely of the college football game as the Community Braves make their way onto the field on the far side.
Waving the Texas flag in front there.
But, yeah, that tent that they have on the Wildcat side definitely reminds me of the college football scene, how they'll take a player in, and here come the Wildcats on the near side.
Yes. Right. Great entrance by the Wildcats as they come busting through the line here of the Blue Blazes. So getting ready for a big game tonight.
And a big one it is, and they'll need a big game from every contributor if they hope to come out on top.
Right. Well, the start of district, so this is where it really gets real. Of course, the Wildcats coming into district, 4 wins, 1 loss, and so feeling pretty good. And then, of course, favored to win this game. But it is high school football, and anything can happen. Let's see. The last game we were only favored in 1 game previously. In that last game, we were favored by 1 point, right?
Yeah, we sure
were. And kind of blew them out, but. So you just never know. So here we come. Now we're going to hear the prayer first, I believe.
Ready to say the national anthem. Be quiet.
Good afternoon, Wildcats. Please bow your head and join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come here today to watch our fellow students, friends, and families play in tonight's game. I pray that you have a hand over every player's shoulder and keep them safe throughout tonight. That you show yourself through them on that field. May they play with kindness and understanding in their heart. And I pray that you so graciously give each player the strength and perseverance that they need tonight to finish the game. That with your power you help them show the respect, honor, and the spirit of sportsmanship. Thank you for the coaches and staff that work hard and strive for this team and our school districts to be the best they can be. Lord, I want to thank you for giving us this time to come together as a community to show these Wildcats just how much we support them. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunities you give us every day to be here and encourage others with the grace you've given us. I pray that you bless this game with safety and encouragement of the teammates and the fans, and I pray that you look over Carson Hicks' family, fiance, and friends tonight. I pray that you are with them and keep them in good health. In your precious name we pray. Amen.
Good job there by that young man, and now we'll hear the national anthem. Play some football here at Gerald Prim Stadium. Just wanted to touch on one thing, that the young man that offered the prayer was asking for prayers and thoughts for the Carson Hicks family. Tragic accident late last night. Young man from Sulphur Springs was lost his life in an ATV accident. So, of course, our thoughts and prayers also go out to the Hicks and the Falmer family and their extended family as well. So, tragic event. But now let's turn to some football. Ross, we got our captains out there. Looks like 46 and now 10 and 45, maybe 7.
So that is 46 Cole Haney, number 10 Matt Mitchell, and what was the last number?
7 and 10.
10's Matt Mitchell, 7 is Riley Hammond.
And then 46,
46 Cole Haney, and 45 Luke Caton.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, Haney, that's a familiar name.
So 2 very, very much so specialist, and Matt Mitchell, of course, a B-back.
Has won the toss and left to receive. Have a good game, gentlemen.
Now, did we hear that correctly? We won the toss and elected to receive.
I believe so.
Yes, so I believe that's the way the ref called that one. So looks like they'll be receiving. Your Wildcats will be receiving the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff just here in just a moment. The countdown clock for the game to begin has counted all the way down. It's 12 minutes on the first quarter clock down there, 0-0. We're getting ready to play some football here at Gerald Prim Stadium.
Man, what a fun one we're going to be treated tonight. Before I forget, I want to mention captains for the Community Braves. That's number 2, Brandel Hernandez. That's one of the running backs. You'll be hearing his number a lot tonight. Noah Allen, a wide receiver. Then you've got number 8, Hayden Tanner, a tight end. And, Noah Allen, he is injured. He will not be playing tonight. And the last one is number 64, Stevie Hopper, a veteran on that offensive line.
Right, and not much information from the head coach. A lot of these coaches are trying to keep the roster and keep the players secret up until game time, and I think that's what we see with Community tonight. So we'll get that kind of flushed out as they line up, but they've lined up right now on the left hash mark to kick this one off. The Wildcats will be moving left to right on your radio dial tonight for this first quarter, and here comes that J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff.
And it is away, and it's a boomer kicked inside the 5. It is picked up by a Wildcat. He starts taking it past the 20, but he is swarmed to the ball and will be taken down where the Wildcats will start their first drive just past the 20.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to put him on the 21-yard line. It's going to be the Hootens Hardware first down for your Wildcats. They'll have the entire length of the field to go here, another 79 yards to get into the end zone. And so they come out strong. And we've got kind of our usual players, the quarterback, the wide receivers, everybody. Like Ross said, nobody's hurt, so it should be just our regular folks out there playing, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one thing we need to, Sulphur Springs needs to do to get off on the right foot here is, unlike last week, which saw, 2 weeks ago, which saw Liberty Ilo get the game-opening touchdown, Sulphur Springs needs to get a big start here, and they elect to go to C.J. Williams, it looks like, yes, on the first rush, but he's not able to get much. In fact, it looks like he's taken down at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they read that one pretty well on C.J., and they just wrapped him up right there at the line of scrimmage. So they're trying to run the ball, the Wildcats are, and we know that Community is going to be running the ball because they are so proficient at it in their last games. But here comes second down.
So 5 wide, empty backfield. Driver has to roll to his right. He fakes a handoff and instead, he is able to evade a couple of defenders before he is taken down almost at the 30-yard line.
What a great run there. He just didn't look like he was going to make much headway there, but just kept fighting and got on up there and picked up, what is that, about 7 yards?
Yeah, it looks to be so, exactly. And man, what a play that was, because the play immediately broke down. No one was in the backfield to help him out. Instead, rolling to his right, he did a pump fake, made a defender jump and miss, and then wasn't taken down until he was 5 yards downfield. So once again, Brady Driver just doing it all.
Yeah, he was great. One guy jumped up and so there's already going to have a timeout here, it looks like.
Takes the first charge time out of the half.
So with third down and 3 to go in this first drive for your Wildcats, they're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break with them, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium here in Wildcat Football's district opener. Here on the first drive of the game, the Sulphur Springs got the ball, but they had something not looking right, so Coach Faircloth calling a timeout. 3rd and 3, fakes the handoff from Driver, and miscommunication coming out of the timeout. Driver intending for C.J. Williams on the reception, but again, miscommunication there, and something just was not right. I don't think he was expecting the ball.
Threw it out to the right, and the receiver wasn't ready for it. The defender was, and slapped it out of the air, and then it's going to be punt time for your Wildcats. 4th and 3. They're all the way down on their own 28-yard line, and they're going to have to punt it away. That puts their punt returner back at about his own 35, 36-yard line, so going to be a short field for them if they get a good reception on the punt.
Driver gets a little bit of a high snap, but he does keep it. A nice kick that takes a good couple of bounces, and Community still going for it. They got a man going back for it. He picks it up, but he is quickly taken down by one of the captains tonight, 45, Luke Caton.
Luke Caton doing a great job for special teams for your Wildcats. And with 10:15 left in this first quarter, it's 0 on both sides. And the Community Braves will be starting their 1st and 10. See where they're going to spot that. Their punt returner really should have called for a fair catch. He would have gotten a little more yardage. He let it bounce, but they're going to be on their own 27-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10 for them, deep in their own territory.
So now we'll see how the Wildcat defense stacks up against the Community Braves, a team that has rushed for almost 1,350 yards, just shy of it at 5. 13:45 coming into this one, but quickly their first rush of the game is swarmed up by Wildcat tacklers. It looks like no gain on the play. And man, what a great start for the Wildcat defense. That's exactly what you have to do if you want to come out on top. Something I was going to say would be a key to this game would be to make sure that they are behind the chains, that they can't stay ahead in their game plan and make them face a lot of 2nd and 3rd and longs. Make them pass it against you.
Right. It looks like both defenses on both teams this week have got a stern talking to about how they need to perform.
So they opt for the pass on the second play of the drive. It is complete, but not before he gets taken down for only 2 yards on the play.
Yeah, he's Wildcat defender was right on top of him and took him to the ground. May spot him about 3 yards on that. It's going to be 3rd down and 7. Ball right at the 30-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd and very long for Community. The Wildcat defense is going to have to step it up right here and hold them.
3rd and 7 at the 30. The Braves need to get to the 37-yard line for a new set of downs. They have a man, and he is just able to thread the sideline and catch the ball. What a reception there by number 5 on that one.
Yeah, he did a great job hauling that one in, and they're going to pick up not only a new set of downs, but they're going to move all the way up to the 42-yard line. And if they make this first down, they're going to be into Wildcat territory. So that was a good play by the Braves. You can't knock them for that. The Wildcats are trying to adjust their defense now, and they're looking for the run.
So running it is, and man, what a lane he's got. He's still going. Number 10 staying on his feet, flipping field position inside the 40 to the 38-yard line.
Yeah, about a 20-yard run there for their running back. Went straight up the middle, had a huge hole, and even though the Wildcats looked like they were looking for it, they couldn't defend it.
And what a game that was, flipping field position for the Braves. They went from the 42-yard line on their own side of the field all the way to inside the 40 to the 38-yard line. So that's a gain of, 20 yards on the play?
Yes, absolutely.
So now we'll see what River Medlin can do with a new set of downs. His team now on the opposing side of the 50, and another great lane and another great rush, this time by Cannon Roan.
And it looks like they're trying to get into their good spot where they were all season long, just running the ball every play that they can and picking up 3 or 4 yards, and they did that just now, picked up 3 yards. They're on the 35-yard line in Wildcat territory, and if they keep marching down the field like that, they're going to be hard to stop. Wildcats are going to have to make some adjustments. 7:30 left in this first quarter.
Shift from the offense, and they've got a nice lane for a moment before the Wildcats swarm to it. That was number 10, Quentin Hall, who was just pummeled by a wave of Wildcats.
Yes, a great stop by the Wildcats there. They just swarmed him and carried him backwards. They're going to give him that forward progress all the way back up to the line of scrimmage, even though he was tackled about 3 or 4 yards back. But they're going to let him have 3rd down at the same spot they had 2nd down there, and it's going to be 3rd and 6.
3rd and 6 inside the 35-yard line. The Braves trying to get a new set of downs and keep that Wildcat offense off the field. The best chance they have is to try and keep the defense for Sulphur Springs on the field. Their wide receiver able to break a tackle and almost break another before he's taken down at the 30-yard line. However, they will be 2 yards shy of the goal to gain.
Yes, a lot of Wildcats in on that tackle, trying to keep them from moving down the field.
Quarterback going over the sideline to talk with head coach Dustin Bland. That's River Medlin getting the play call. The offense staying on the field for community and trying to get an emphatic start to this one by constantly driving on the Wildcat defense and getting a fourth down conversion. Here's the rush, and he's got it. Wow. A nice chunk of yardage there. It looks like, yes, 5 on the play, more than enough for a first down.
Yeah, they just needed 2, and they're going to move those chains, and they're going to be knocking on the red zone here just any minute. About the 26-yard line for the Braves in Wildcat territory. 5:51 and counting on the game clock here for the first quarter. 0-0, but the Braves are threatening to get into the red zone and score with a new set of downs.
Man, one of the minuses against the Wildcat defense here tonight is just how much clock this rushing attack is using up. I mean, just as you were talking about, Chad, we are over halfway through the first quarter, and it is just 10 minutes past kickoff time.
Yep. I mean, they're just keeping the ball. Well, and that's what happens when you have a running game, because incomplete passes, of course, are going to stop the clock. But so the running game, they're not stopping the clock. They just keep marching down the field. They take their time. On some plays like this one, they're taking their time, letting the play clock run down. They're not a real fast-paced offense. Here it comes.
And fakes a handoff. The quarterback looking to the end zone and, under-delivers in a big way. That looks like it might have been tipped or something, because that was not a pretty pass.
Yeah, it wasn't anywhere close, and that incomplete pass will stop the clock with 4:52 left in the first quarter. It's third down and very long, and this is where it's crunch time for your Wildcat defense, where they're going to have to figure out how to stop them right here and either hold them to a field goal if they of course, they may go for it again on fourth down, but it's third and long for the Braves.
And that's exactly what you need to do if you want to stay ahead of this Braves offense. You have to force second and third and longs, which they have done here. Good open field tackle, and he's not taken down. Number 10 staying on his feet, but finally pushed out at about the 20-yard line. So it will be a gain of 5 on the play, it looks like.
Yes, that was David Campbell on the tackle there. He wrapped him up. It looked like he took him down, but they didn't call him down. Now it's going to be fourth and about 4 yards, it looks like, Ross.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it'll be a little bit tougher than their last fourth down conversion attempt.
Yeah, they got about that yardage last time, but they only needed 2. So they're going to need all the yards they got on that fourth down. It looks like they're getting in a pass formation. Maybe a trick. Yep.
And pass it is, and wow, had a man wide open, although 3 Wildcats were all too ready to tackle him. However, the ball is under-delivered from the quarterback, Medlin, and a turnover on down, so the Wildcats will start on offense for their second drive of the game at their own 20.
Yes, it's going to be time for the Wildcat offense to dial it up. 4:32 left on the clock here in the first quarter. 0-0. The Wildcats looking to go 80 yards now to get their first score as they come up to the line of scrimmage for the Hootens Hardware first down. It's 1st and 10 from their own 20.
Before we start talking about this offense, before they get the first snap off, I want to give a shout out to the defense for getting a big stop on fourth down.
Absolutely.
That can be real confidence killers. But the Wildcats now with the ball, and man, look at that. What a beautiful, beautiful trap there. A power trap from that offense for the Wildcats. I mean, he got, what was that on that one, Chad? Almost 10 yards?
Yeah, he was, 9 yards. Yeah, they're going to give him 9 yards on that. He just stepped out of bounds, and he was just upright the whole time. He didn't have to dodge many tackles there, and just made a great run.
Yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful job leading the way from that offensive line. I mean, he had 2 front blockers from his line just paving the way. I mean, Moses was here in Sulphur Springs, part of the Red Sea. And a nice reception to Matt Mitchell right at the line of gain, but maybe a yard more. Either way, it's a first down for the Wildcats.
It is a great reception. He got wrapped up pretty quick by a Braves defender that took him to the ground, but so what? The Wildcats get a new set of downs on that one, and they're going to be starting from the 32-yard line now as they come out for the Hootens Hardware first down. Those Wildcats are moving on down the field. 4:02 left in the first quarter.
So CJ initially in the backfield with Driver. However, he motions out. He gets a reception from him, and the whistle blows the play dead as he started making his way outside. So
False start.
False start.
6 the offense. 5-yard penalty. Replay. First down.
man, what a bummer that was, because CJ had nothing but green grass ahead of him on that one.
So that hopefully the Wildcats can come back from that very quickly and move on down the field. It's going to be 1st and 15 now, though, for your Wildcats. Going to be starting from their own 27-yard line.
That penalty against the Wildcats is the first one here in this game, a false start, and we are just over 8 minutes into this first quarter. So a pretty clean game up to this point. On the handoff is CJ, and wow, look at that burst, just screaming through the first line and making his way past the initial marker to get 6 yards on the rush.
Yes, a great play there. It was, I think that's number 15 that was in motion there, and then cut out and became a blocker to help pave the way there. Jackson Hare, I believe, but providing a good block for C.J. Williams to get a few more yards, but only picked up about a yard on that, and so it's going to be 2nd and 9 for the Wildcats. They're getting back up to the line of scrimmage here. Driver
gets the initial play call, doesn't like what he sees, audibles, lets his team know, and he hands it off, or fakes the handoff to CJ. He had a man, Matt Mitchell, who had still a lot of green grass to work with, but it was tipped by a defensive lineman. Pass is incomplete. 3rd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, Brady Driver throwing it to number 10, but it got tipped by number 10 on the other side of the ball there. The defensive number 10 tipped it, and it fell short. So it's going to make it an incomplete pass. It stops the clock. 2:52 left in this first quarter, still all zeros. And the Wildcats are trying to get something happening here with 3rd and very long on this drive.
From their own 33, 3rd and 9, lots of pressure, but a great design screen pass, and CJ is past the first down marker. Wow, what a beautiful play call, and what great execution to get a first down.
Everybody was in on that one. Brady Driver did a great job of dumping that ball over the front line, and C.J. Williams snagged it on the screen pass and took off. He knew how many yards he needed to get, you could tell, and he got them.
Yeah, almost an explosive play there by the wideout C.J. Williams. It is 12 yards on the gain. All coaches define an explosive play as 15 plus. So
I see.
Just
Thank
shy
you.
of it.
Right.
But another great play there.
Mini explosive.
And operating with 3 wideouts right, he quickly gets the pass off to Skylar Lewis, and Lewis makes a nice cut before getting 5 more yards, setting up a very, very nice 2nd and 5.
Yes, that Hooten's Hardware first down, they just executed and got 5 yards out of that. Another great screen pass, and Brady Driver doing a better job of getting the ball past those pretty tall defenders that have tipped the ball on some of those previous plays. He's adapting and overcoming that, and they're right on the 50-yard line.
So with a 2nd and 5, a great handoff there to CJ. He bounces off one defender before being taken down, but not before getting another 3 yards, setting up a 2nd and short.
That's going to be 3rd, actually, 3rd and 3, yeah. And so they're into Brave territory there, and so they're switching out some players on the defense here, putting in some bigger guys on that front line, probably looking for the run coming up the middle. The Wildcats are kind of lined up that way.
Yeah, this is what I would call an uber-heavy package. I mean, they've got at least 5 offensive linemen. It looks like 2 tight ends, 2 B-backs. Wow, this is about as heavy as a package can get. And Driver gets just 2 yards, and that's all he needed for a new set of downs.
Yeah, he knew where he was going and went right up the middle over his front line there, and they're moving those chains. Your Wildcats will be well into Braves territory now, starting on their 45-yard line for the Hooten's Hardware first down.
So after we saw a formation that can only be likened to the olden days of the 4 Horsemen of Notre Dame, so many extra big guys on the line, the Wildcats get a first down. It's at the Brave 45. Driver Pump fakes. He's looking downfield, but instead takes off with it. And it looks like, I don't think he got anything on that play. Yes, he will be tackled at the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he kind of darted around and tried to make something happen, got wrapped up by number 3 on the defense there, and just got taken down to the ground right at the line of scrimmage. So some good defense so far on this game. The clock ticks down. It's going to hit triple zeros for this first quarter. Teams are going to come to the sideline and get a little instruction from both of their coaches as they switch ends of the field. We'll be back here in just a moment to start the second quarter at Gerald Prim Stadium. The score still 0-0. Your Wildcats have the ball. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. We're about to start the second quarter. Both teams deadlocked at 0, and Sulphur Springs trying to drive down just about the length of the field and get the first score of the night. They face a 2nd and 10 on the community 45. So, 2 wide receivers left and right. Driver fakes the handoff. He starts taking off with it down the middle, and he gets a nice couple good first blocks to get 5 yards on the rush, it looks like.
Yeah, that's a good run. That was second and 10 there as we switched ends of the field for the change of the quarter, and now they're going to be on the 40-yard line of the Braves, so 3rd and 5. And the Wildcats trying to make something happen here. Have a receiver out here on the near side, and then 2 receivers out on the far side, Ross.
After the rush from Driver of 5 yards, it's 3rd and 5. 2 wide receivers right. Driver fakes the handoff, and he had a man, Cooper Faircloth, but I think a defender might have gotten a hand in at the last second.
Yes, that was very well covered there. I don't think so well covered that I need to throw my yellow flag from here. He was just well covered, and I think they knocked it out. It's 4th down and kind of crunch time here for your Wildcats. Looks like they're going for it. 4th and 5. Offense is staying out there. The play clock is at 15 seconds and winding down. So
taking some time to get the play call in.
Yep.
Kind of surprised at the I don't want to say lack of hustle, but it did take some time to get that play call in. However, 3 seconds left. They're going for it. Faking the handoff. Oh, double fake. And CJ's got more than enough green grass to get a first down. He is pushed out inside the 25, it looks like, or maybe just past it.
Wow, what a fantastic play where they did you call it the double revert? No, what'd you call it, the double fake? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they great play there and faked everybody out, including the defense of the Braves, and he picked up quite a bit of yardage there, all the way down to the 27-yard line, and the Braves are going to pick up another Hooten's Hardware first down. It's going to be 1st and 10, and they're going to be knocking on the red zone here pretty quick, Ross.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The first explosive play on the night comes from C.J. Williams, who had one just shy of explosive, and then most recently north of explosive. But on that rush, he gets another handoff, and his helmet comes off,
right.
So he will be out for a play. But he does lose what looks like 2-3 yards on the rush.
Yeah, they knocked him down back a little bit there, so that's going to make this second down a little tougher for your Wildcats. They're discussing where they're going to spot that ball there. It's going to be about on the 29-yard line, so that's going to make it 2nd and about 12, and they're already back to snap it.
So,
changing the play.
They get the audible. Driver hands it off. This is number 32, who is able to get past the original marker, but only about... No, they'll say it was just 1 yard beyond the marker, so just a gain of 3 sets up a tough 3rd and 9.
Yeah, they maybe need another trick play there to get. That was it became the explosive play, as you said, Ross. So I've already learned something. That's greater than 15 yards, right? Yeah. So great job, and it, certainly on 4th down, it made it a fantastic play.
So Wildcats going to need at least 4 or 5, but just as I said that, community decides to take a timeout, so we're going to take a timeout with them. Coming up is a 3rd and 9 for Sulphur Springs on the Brave 26. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
And we're back at Gerald Prim Stadium, just into the second quarter. 10:03 left in this first half. It's all zeros on the scoreboard. We've seen some pretty good offense, just maybe some better defense on both sides of the ball tonight so far, Ross. And so that the scoreboard obviously reflects that. Nobody can get in the end zone. So what we saw in our last game, that all the points were scored in the first half, well, so far no points have been scored. And it's 3rd and long for your Wildcats as they're deep into Braves territory.
So not too long before we took a timeout, the Wildcats had to convert on a 4th and 5. They're going to need to the end zone. And, Skyler had a beautiful ball from Brady Driver that he dropped right through his hands. He is going to not like watching that play in film review tomorrow, folks.
I couldn't tell if they tipped it right away, right at the very end of that, or but he just didn't come up with it, and that's going to make it 4th and very long for these Wildcats. But Brady Driver's staying in.
So last time, as I just mentioned, facing a 4th and 5, the Wildcats went for it, but now even tougher, almost double the distance, 4th and 9 from the Brave 26. Driver facing a lot of pressure. He decides to take off with it, still looking downfield, and oh my goodness, what a reception there from C.J. Williams. No, Skyler Lewis.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the best catches we've seen all year, as he pulls it down with both feet in bounds and then falls out of bounds. Of course, kept control of the ball, getting the first down, moving the chains for the Wildcats. They're deep in the red zone now. It's 1st and 10 for the Hootens Hardware first down on the Braves' 12-yard line.
So Skyler Lewis making up for his drop in the end zone by getting a big 14-yard reception, gives the Wildcats a new set of downs, and the next play is a touchdown to Skyler Lewis.
He catches it right at the goal line, falling into the end zone, and Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, as that puts 6 points on the board for your Wildcats, awaiting the extra point. 9:39 left in the first half of this game, and these are the first points scored.
So Uriel Santa Cruz, the kicker for Wildcat football and a member of Wildcat soccer, ready for the PAT try. Kick is up. It looks good. Is it good? You betcha.
It is.
So 7-0, your Wildcats lead with just about 2.5 into the second quarter. And we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. But when we return, we will have Community's response coming right up.
And welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium, where the Wildcats will be kicking off because they put some points on the board. 7-0, your Wildcats over the Community Braves. 9:39 left in this first half of the ball game. And just what a wonderful, explosive plays that the Wildcats put on the board there. And the receiver redeemed himself after dropping that pass, then getting the first down and then getting into the end zone. So here comes the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff.
And away it is, and it's a boomer of a kick, taking a bounce inside the 5 before taking another bounce into the end zone for a touchback.
So Community will come out and start on the 25-yard line as they get started on their drive. They're moving left to right here in this second quarter, and we'll see what they've got in store. Maybe a little more running, maybe they're going to mix it up with some passing. They've done good on the run game. On a few plays. The Wildcat defense has kind of dialed it up and tried to answer the call, and they've kept them from getting into the end zone by sure. But so we'll see what Community has in store for these Wildcats right now as they come up with their 1st and 10.
Some more shifting from the Brave offense. Going to see a lot of that as they've got 3 running backs in the backfield, and they hand it off to one of their backs who is quickly swarmed by at least 3 Wildcats at the original line of scrimmage.
Yes, looks like they hand off number 21 for the Braves, and he had about 21 Wildcat players on him. I don't think there's that many, but he had just about the whole front line wrap him up and take him down right at the line of scrimmage. So it's going to be 2nd and 10 for those Braves. They're pushed. They're all the way back here in their own on their own 25-yard line, of course, in their own territory.
So after the rush for no gain, 2nd Second and 10 from their own 25. Fakes the handoff. Looking right. He's got a man with some green grass. He's able to make a man miss before being taken down by the second wave. Not after a gain, though, of it looks like 8 yards on the play.
It does look like 8 yards. That's going to bring up 3rd and short for those Braves. They're moved all the way up to their own 33-yard line. They just need to get to the 35. And the Wildcat defense getting their play called in as we would think that it's going to be a big run play here from this Brave offense, but they're sending some people out far left there as receivers.
And they hand it off to number 24, who breaks through that first line of defenders for a first down.
Yes, got up to about the 39-yard line, so that's going to move the change for the Braves. Wildcat defense responded pretty well to that, but just not good enough. They gave up just a couple of too many yards there to give a new set of downs to the community offense, and so they're taking their time coming up to the line of scrimmage. We're going to see the clock ticking down quickly here because they keep running the ball. They're going to throw it as soon as I said that, aren't they?
Yeah, that formation, I definitely thought they were, but instead they go for the handoff to number 24, who once again gets more than 5 yards, 6 on that one, setting up 2nd and 4.
Yeah, they're certainly on their run game tonight, and they've got a lot of run plays in there and a lot of people to give it to, and trying to keep that Wildcat defense on their heels there, trying to figure out what's happening. And they're so far they're marching down the field. They haven't got past midfield yet, but we'll see what they come up with.
So 2nd and 4. They've got a player with some space, but quickly he tried to follow some blocks, and the Wildcats just as quickly met him for a cup of tea. Loss of 2 on the play. It'll set up 3rd and 6.
Right, Wildcat defense read that one very well. The clock ticks down under 6:50 right now. Your Wildcats up 7-0 over Community here at Gel Prim Stadium in the second quarter.
This offense, the Braves, average 6.7 yards per rush. Have to imagine they're going to do their best to do that here. Instead, they opt for the pass. Looking left, they have a man, but it looks like it sailed through his fingertips before quickly Landon Fields met him to thwart any hopes of a reception.
Right.
4th down coming up.
Yes, that great coverage by the Wildcat defense there, and almost ended up in the hands of Riley Hammonds, who was behind that play. They're going to go for it.
And what a formation we've got here, folks. I hope you enjoyed the Jim Irsay Colts when they had just the long snapper and the man behind center, because that's more or less what they just trotted out. One guy who was going to snap the ball, the quarterback who was going to try to pass it to the left, as there were at least, 5, 6 Braves on that other side?
They were divided up there in 2 different formations for our radio crowd there that not watching us on YouTube. They had 5 or 6 in one formation, the other 6 or 5 in the other formation to the far left of the field. It was enough for the Wildcats to say, hold your horses and call a quick timeout. We're going to stick with them here and not take a break, because they're going to be coming right back out. But the Wildcats maybe, and that's what it's kind of a trick play. It's meant to throw the defense off, and where are you going to line up? So this ought to be interesting. Here we go, 4th down and long.
You know, being a special team coach isn't always the most exciting gig, but this is one of those times. I mean, I wish I could describe to you the formation for the radio folks, but instead they just opt for a kick, as no Wildcats are back there going to try and see if they can't pin him deep. Instead, it takes a Wildcat bounce towards the 50, so a Brave has to jump on it at about the 27-yard line.
So a very interesting formation there for the Braves, as if we had sent a couple of guys back to receive that punt, then they, of course, would have passed the ball or run the ball and try to get that 4th down. So wise move by the Wildcat defensive coordinator there to keep all of those Wildcats up on the line of scrimmage, forcing them to punt. The Wildcats are now going to get the ball. Not too bad of a field position here on the 27-yard line in Wildcat territory. Here comes your Hooten's Hardware 1st down.
Two wide receivers right again for the Wildcats. In the backfield with Driver is C.J. Williams. He hands it off to C.J., and C.J.'s got more than green grass ahead of him. He breaks one tackle, but is taken down by a defensive back, but not before getting 13 yards on the rush.
An almost explosive play there. Ross is what I would call it, not even a mini explosive, but he gets all the way up to the 40-yard line. That's going to be good enough for a new set of downs and another Hooten's Hardware first down.
One thing that's going to be interesting to watch here through this game is to see how many defensive players you see have their hands on their hips, because both teams are going to try and keep those defenses on the field and put the onus on them to get a stop and win. But CJ on another handoff breaks through the first wave and gets another almost, looks like 6 yards on the rush.
Yeah, great play. He's trying to get to midfield, which would give them a new set of downs and put them into Braves territory there. And so they're marching on down the field. And with that running play, the clock keeps ticking. So 5 minutes and 25 seconds left on the board there for this first quarter. Your Wildcats up 7-0 over Community Braves.
Well, and one thing to definitely note, too, is that, of course, we've been talking about of how stout this running team is. But if you go up 2 touchdowns on them, that puts it entirely on the passing game, really, to get to cut back in the game, and that's exactly what you want. But another great rush from CJ gives the Wildcats another first down.
Yeah, and he dove that last 3 yards and got well into the Braves territory there. Wildcats are going to get a new set of downs on the Braves 46-yard line, and that's where they're going to start 1st and 10 for their Hooten's Hardware first down.
So opting for a little bit of a heavier package as Jackson Hare comes out for the Wildcats. That's, of course, the freshman wide receiver. And in comes, I believe that was number 25, Grayson Reams. So the B-back coming in on the right side. And, wow, what a fake there to CJ. I mean, I was completely following him. Instead, Driver keeps it himself, but for minimal gain. Only a gain of 1 on the play. Sets up 2nd and 9 now from the Brave 45-yard line. And under 4 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in the first half. Your Wildcats lead 7-0 and driving to see if they can't add on another one.
Yeah, and that's some special package, some special play they had sending Grayson Reams in, and now Grayson Reams comes back out. So we'll have to watch that next time and see if they run that same play when they send him in. He's a special teams player.
So, Driver looking left. He's got CJ. CJ breaks through one tackler before he is taken down past the first down marker.
Yes, another great effort. He knows exactly where he needs to get, and he needed to get to that 35-yard line. He did, and that's going to move the chains. Just waiting for, there's the signal. They're going to move those chains, and another Hooten's Hardware first down comes up on the Braves 35-yard line.
So Sulphur Springs getting another crucial play to get a new set of downs. Now under 3.5 to go here in the first half. The Wildcats lead by 7. Driver looks downfield, instead opting to take it himself, and he does get almost 5 yards. They'll call it 4 on the play.
Yeah, he made a great second and third effort. He didn't go down until he got wrapped up by about 3 of those white jerseys from out of town, and so they're going to put him all the way up to the 31-yard line, and it's going to be 2nd and 6 for your Wildcats here as they lead 7-0, 3 minutes, and the clock is ticking. 3 minutes left in this quarter and this half of the ball game.
So operating with normally 3 down linemen, all 3 of those down linemen for the Braves have their hands on their hips. And, a great pass attempt from Brady Driver to Skylar Lewis at the 20-yard line, but it's incomplete after a hit from a defender.
Yes, and he's going to be kind of limping off there for a moment. I don't think it's I think he's going to be okay. Not a big injury there, but he's going to be replaced on the offense there by number 14, looks like. And so the Wildcats 3rd and 6 from the 31.
Driver operating out of an empty backfield, 5 wide, and instead keeps it himself on a design QB draw, and he's inside the 15, inside the 10, 5, touchdown Wildcats.
And Brady Driver won that track meet. He's just left them all as he went up the middle with some great blocking, and Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, as Brady Driver takes it to the house himself and puts 6 more points on the board. We're going to wait for Uriel Santa Cruz to come out and kick that extra point, and could make it a 14-0 game. 2:33 left in this half. Your Wildcats have marched down the field and scored 14 unanswered points against the Community Braves. We're going to take a quick break as they get ready for that J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. And we're back here at Gerald Prim Stadium, where the Wildcats have just put another 7 points on the board. The Community Braves have not been able to get into the end zone or put any points on the board yet, so 14-0, your Wildcats over the Community Braves, and 2:33 left in this first half of the ball game. It's well, I'm going to say it hasn't been much of a first half, Ross, but it just hasn't been a lot of scoring. Like I said earlier, the last game we were here against Liberty Ilo, all of the points in the entire game were scored in the first half. And so far, it's only 14 points. So we're trying to get that magic 29, and we'll know we'll win if we can get 29 points against the Braves, right?
Yeah, and we're just about halfway there.
Halfway there.
Well, 0.5 short of it, but yes,
I got
as Sulphur Springs, and just like we were talking about on the last drive, as the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff is away, it's taken in by a Brave inside the 10, and he's got some green grass to work with, but he is taken down inside the 30 at about the 27-yard line, or 28.
I think he kind of tripped himself up there. He was trying to dodge a Wildcat defender there, and he kind of slipped a little, and the Wildcat wrapped him up, and or he could have. That would have been an explosive play, as you say, because he would have gone right up the middle and kept on going. He had a good big hole there.
Yeah, and something as I was talking about on the last drive is that if you do get up big, now they're up by 2 touchdowns, the entire philosophy for the offense has changed. They're no longer playing to their game plan. They are playing to get back in this, and that's when you see a lot of teams pass more, make more mistakes, turn over the ball, and so really, if Sulphur Springs can get a stop here, they don't even have to score again before halftime, but if they can get a stop here, then I think they set themselves up very well for a potential victory here tonight.
And the Wildcat defense read that play wonderfully as they pitched out to the right and tried to lead with a couple of blockers, but there were more Wildcat defenders to wrap him up, only gaining about a yard on the play, so that's going to give the Community Braves 2nd and 9. They're all the way on their own 29-yard line, and the clock still ticking. 1:55 left in the first half. You'd think they'd pass big. Here it comes.
And on the bootleg, River Medlin trying to look for options downfield, but just couldn't make a throw in time. He is sacked for a big loss. It looks like it's going to be 8 on the play.
Yes, great defensive play, and they're going to be somebody's going to be calling timeout on this one real quick because the clock's ticking down, and that with that sack, it was not going to stop the clock.
And with the sack, it's now 3rd down, too. So Sulphur Springs has a good chance to maybe even get a field goal before the half.
Yes, absolutely. And Wildcats took that timeout, their final timeout of the half, I believe. And so they're going to talk about it. We're going to take a quick break with them. We'll be back here in just a moment.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. Just 96 seconds remain between Sulphur Springs football and halftime as your Wildcats lead 14-0. The Braves face a big 3rd and 18, and they, of course, elect for a screen. They've got a little bit of green grass to work with on the far side, and he manages to tiptoe the sideline before being pushed out about 3 yards shy of the first down.
Maybe, yes. It's going to make it 4th and short. Well, it's going to be very long if it's a 4th down, but yeah, they're going to mark it there. It's going to give them about 3 yards to go, and so it's 4th and a very important 3 yards. He went out of bounds, so the clock stopped. 1:29 left in the half, but they not only have to get those 3 yards, they've got to get another 60 yards to get into the end zone. So they're changing out. Here they go again with the showing the odd punt formation, Ross.
Yep, and I think just the exact same, just like you were talking about last time around, Chad. Community was really hoping that Sulphur Springs would bite, maybe adjust to the punt, instead go for it, just like you suggested, but not biting on that one, so Community has to take one of their timeouts.
Yes, and we're going to stick with you here, and watch them talk about it. I don't think it's going to be a very long time out. They're just going to change their play to whatever the backup play was when the Wildcats didn't bite on that, because they didn't. It worked out well for them last time, and we would expect Community to go for it right here. They're down 14 points. There's 1 minute and 28 seconds left in this half. It's 4th and 3 in their own territory, but they need to make something happen and put some points on the board and keep the ball. So I would expect that they would just flat out go for it, but they're showing the weird punt formation again, is what we'll call it.
So the long snapper, 2 linemen beside him, a guy behind him, and of course the punter. So what will that be, 5 or 6?
Yep.
And yes, they do try to go for it. River Medlin tries to keep it. He has some. Oh, wow, what a stand-up play there by the quarterback, River Medlin, trying to make something happen. He's able to evade a tackler and get the ball downfield, but a Wildcat got his hand on it, and another almost intercepted it.
Yeah, so he scrambled around and tried to throw that ball downfield. Had someone open because of the weird formation there. It was hard to cover everybody, but did not connect, and that's going to turn it over on downs. Now this gives your Wildcats a chance to put a few more points on the board before halftime, as there is 1 minute 20 left in the half, and the Wildcats start their 1st and 10 on the 35-yard line on the Braves' end of the field. So if they can make something happen here and get a little bit farther down the field, they'll march Uriel Santa Cruz out there and have him kick it through the uprights.
So 4 wide receivers out there for the Wildcats. Driver fakes a handoff. He's looking downfield, looking right all the way, and tries to thread it into C.J. Williams, but sails it over his head, incomplete, as to avoid putting it into harm's way.
Yes, and not a lot of pressure there. He had plenty of time, but he just couldn't connect. The Braves are well covered on everybody. Matt Mitchell's coming into the game, and then so another target as a receiver there.
So once again, 2 wide receivers right for the Wildcats. Now 1 just left. And Driver fakes the handoff, tries to get a lot of protection, but quickly the Braves are in the backfield with them. He elects to take off with it to the far side and gets what looks to be 3 on the rush. So a 3rd and 7 coming up. 64 seconds left to go in the first half.
He smartly ran that ball out of bounds and stopping the clock, and so gives him a little bit more time and to talk about it before they run this next play. And so they've just got to get a few more yards. I don't know what Uriel Santa Cruz, how comfortable he is on his longest kick, but I know he's got quite a leg, so a little out of his range right now maybe, but if they can pick up a few more yards, it'd be great if they could pick up 7 and get a first down.
Lots of pressure coming Driver's way. He sails it past his intended target. That was C.J. Williams, I believe, on that one. Incomplete, so a 4th and, well, they call it 8, but it's 7 on the play.
Yes, it is 7, and they're going to stay out there, it looks like, and they're not going to be too far for Santa Cruz to kick it at this point. Exactly 1 minute left on the board, and may just try to, why not? If you turn it over on downs here, Community's got a long way to go, and they weren't moving the ball very quickly anyway. Everybody's out of timeouts as well, so have to either run the ball out of bounds or somehow stop the clock another way.
Number 4, 5-yard penalty, retry, 4th down.
So delay of game call after a whole lot of confusion. Wildcats were running back and forth to the sideline, so I don't think anyone on the Sulphur Springs side knew what they were going to do, what they wanted to do. So unfortunately just have to take a delay of game, and now it makes it a 4th and 12.
Yep.
So on a 4th and very long, 2 wide receivers left for Sulphur Springs. Matt Mitchell moving to the left, Driver looking downfield. He's got a man, C.J. Williams, who makes the reception inside the 20.
And they're going to have to, that's a complete pass. Well, they'll stop the clock to move the chains. And now they're getting lined back up at the line of scrimmage, and they're starting the clock back up 50 seconds and counting. They're going to have to move the ball pretty quick. Nobody has any timeouts.
So this time Jackson Hare in motion. He's moving over the middle, and Hare was pretty open there for a moment. Instead, Driver takes it to the far sideline, and it looks like he'll walk out of bounds at the 10-yard line.
Very smart move by Brady Driver as he runs. They were lined up over here on the left hash mark, and he drove that ball right over to the other side of the field, stepping out of bounds and stopping the clock 32 seconds. He thought he picked up another first down, but no, they're going to mark him a little short. It's going to be 2nd and a yard, looks like, Ross, and so he picked up 9 yards on that quarterback scramble. He may not have been wanting to scramble, but he did. And he's got a few more plays here. Only 11 yards to get into the end zone.
Mitchell in motion, Driver rolling left. He's looking downfield. He has Cooper in the end zone, but they'll say he was incomplete. I'll be honest, folks. I thought a foot might have been in, but I'll bet that community sideline is just grateful that instant replay is not a thing here.
Yes, he may not have. May have been all the way out of bounds before he got that. Control of that ball, maybe that's what they're saying. But an incomplete pass nonetheless. 26 seconds left on the clock. Wildcats are 3rd and just 1, but it'd be tough to run it and keep the clock running, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Pick up that first down. So
if they want to get the first down, they'll need to, and they want to rush it, that is, then yes, you're absolutely right. They'll need to run it out of bounds. Otherwise, they may not have time to get back to the line of scrimmage. Instead, they offer C.J. Williams on the rush, and Williams is able to power his way forward for 5 before he is taken down. So it is a first down, but again, clock keeps running.
Just like what we were talking about. He's probably going to spike it right here and stop the clock.
Driver does exactly that. Spikes the ball with 14 seconds left to go in the first half. So it will be a 2nd, and after the spike, a loss of 2 on the play as a result, and 2nd and goal from the 7-yard line coming up.
Community.
Yeah, now they're going to say Community's calling a timeout after it showed all zeros of timeouts left on the scoreboard. I guess Community had one left, and so they're going to take a quick break. We're going to take a quick break with them. We'll be back here at Gerald Prim Stadium here in just a moment.
Welcome back out to Gerald Prim Stadium. Just 14 seconds left to go in the first half of Wildcat football's district opener. They host Community. They lead the Braves 14-0, but have a chance to put an exclamation point here on this first half if they could potentially get a touchdown, but they would more than happily settle for a field goal. They face a 2nd and goal from the Brave 5-yard line, Sulphur Springs. If they can get a touchdown here, should be well on their way to a victory here potentially, but Driver on the bootleg. He's rolling left. He's got a man. Oh, but just sailed it.
Oh, and he goes into the fence. Kind of overthrown. He was trying to get it away from the defender, and the Wildcat was way out of bounds before he could get to that ball, and ended up running into the fence over there, but doesn't look like he's no worse for the wear. 5 seconds ticked off of the clock then. 9 seconds left in your ball game, in the first half of this ball game for your Wildcats, and they're up 14-0 over the Community Braves. This is going to be, it might as well be third and everything right here, because it's just about time for one more play. Unless it's an incomplete pass.
Driver looking left all the way to CJ, and he's got it for a touchdown.
And Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, as Brady Driver connects with CJ Williams in the end zone, and they put 6 more points on the board, making it 20-0 with only 4 seconds left here in this first half, and we're still awaiting the extra point try from Uriel Santa Cruz. Great job.
Absolutely.
So they said they wouldn't have enough time for another play, and he passed it quickly and proved me wrong, didn't he?
Santa Cruz's kick is up, and it looks good, and it sure is. So the Wildcats take a 21-0 lead in their district opener with just 4 seconds left to go in the first half.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff in just a moment. And we're back at Gerald Prim Stadium where your Wildcats are up 21-0 over the Community Braves. 4 seconds left in this first half. I don't see much of happening here on this J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff. Of course, the Wildcats will be kicking it off back to the Braves after their score, and just have time to recover it, and I don't think they're going to be able.
30 before he is taken down inside the 35, so that will do it on the first half as your Wildcats head into the locker room leading 21-0.
Yes, a great first half by your Sulphur Springs Wildcats. They're just great offense, great defense. Really answered the call on the running game that they knew they were going to be up against with this Nevada community team. So we're going to take a quick break and wrap up some of our sponsors, and then we'll be back with some more analysis after that. And welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium as the drill team for the Community Braves have come out and with the supporting band playing for their routine. Ross, I think that was a fantastic first half. I first want to tell you about the wonderful culinary department that served our meal before we got started here in the ball game. I've talked about that on my morning show, and I've talked about it here before. What a wonderful job that they do, and they didn't disappoint this time either. There's I've never been to another press box, a visiting press box, where they have such a wonderful menu. There was pork loin tonight, and just a lot of choices of different foods. And so I'm always impressed, and we want to thank the culinary department and congratulate them on doing such a wonderful job, because we don't see it anywhere else.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Sometimes we just get directions to the concession stand. Not every high school has a wonderful culinary department as we do here at Sulphur Springs High School.
Yeah, definitely enjoyed all the charcuterie boards we got at Van Alstyne. The whole smorgasbord.
Yes, okay. Now come on, let's not talk bad. I said, hey, where do we go? You climb down this ladder and you go down to the other end of the field and you go to the concession stand.
Get you some nachos.
That's where you go. So we're very fortunate here at Gerald Prim Stadium to enjoy that. That's a wonderful department. I met the gentleman in charge of that department, Chef Skipper, and he's doing a great job with the students that he has in that department, and we just can't give them any more praise, really. I mean, they're just a wonderful day. And we find that not only do we have a wonderful football team, but we've got everybody just does, they try to excel at everything they do. Our band, the cheerleaders, drill team, it just goes on and on. And so I just wanted to talk about them again, because I'm always impressed with them year after year here in the Gerald Prim press box. So let's review the first half. Hey, it's all Wildcats, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Chad. And we were talking about how this is a team that's averaged almost 1,400 yards rushing as a team through 5 games.
Right.
But here tonight, it's been pretty much just like you said, all Wildcats all the time. I mean, it's not like they haven't been moving the ball and unable to move the ball. They've been able to string together some first downs, some explosive plays, but 2 turnovers on downs inside Wildcat territory, as well as a punt, not to mention Sulphur Springs scoring on 3 of their first 4 offensive drives.
Right.
And you've got a really tough recipe for success.
Yes, and you have to give it to both teams really on defense. The community defense came out strong in the very beginning, but the Wildcats adapted at some point, and you could tell they were changing it up and changing the way that they were running their plays, and they then could make those explosive plays and get on down the field to put points on the board. And so now also on the other side of the ball, the Wildcat defense has made some changes getting ready for this community rushing offense, and they've just held their own against them and done very well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And just as we were talking about, one of the keys of this game was forcing community into a lot of 2nd and 3rd and longs and putting the onus on their inexperienced quarterback, River Medlin. I almost mentioned this stat earlier, so I might have mentioned the fact that they averaged 62 yards passing per game. Well, in their first drive, their quarterback threw for 12 yards, so I almost said at that point, he has just averaged 1/6 of his total passing yards of a game. So can't expect a whole lot more of it, and we've seen them try to pass the ball, but already, even when they were trailing by 2 touchdowns, when you start to put it on their quarterback, who again only averages 60 yards a game, it makes it really tough on a team to go completely one-dimensional.
Right. Well, it's and as the drill team for the community, the community. So I almost said the community, but the Nevada community school comes off the field. Their band gets set up for their big show. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what's going on in the locker rooms right now. We'll just have to guess because we don't. They may be listening to us, but we can't listen to them, and we'll see what changes maybe they're going to make to make this second half a little different. We'll take a break and hear from some of our halftime sponsors here on the Wildcat broadcast at KSST, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium as the Mighty Braves Marching Band are about to begin their UIL show. Yeah. Always great to watch these bands continue to develop their UIL show, but competition's already here. Right. As last week, a lot of the 4A schools already participating in their UIL competition, and we can't wait to find out how that Sulphur Springs band did, and what a blessing it is to have these bands here able to do these shows as the last few years because of course, COVID.
Right.
You know, it's been, I think, a lot of up to the bands and the directors to make the decision to make the trip.
Yes, and kind of a strange setup here. If for those listening on the radio only, the band is divided up into 4 different circles, each circle getting larger in size as you move down the field, and so a lot of dramatics in the band, and then a drill team member pops up out of the middle of that circle with an umbrella, and then there's another umbrella comes out of the middle of that. So not sure what music they're playing right now, but obviously a very dramatic show so far for their UIL presentation.
Also interesting that they're using drill team members. That is something for their UIL show. That is not something you see a lot.
Right. And so, and not a very large band, probably, I would say half to 2/3 the size of our band. Some of these different communities have smaller bands, just don't have the participation as what a strong band program that we have here and that we're very fortunate to have here in Sulphur Springs. That goes all the way back to longtime band director Rex Wildman, who I ran into the other day, somebody that you do not know, Ross, but was a band director here for many, many years and laid the foundation and the framework for the wonderful other band directors that we've had since him. So it's a great program that we have. But we promised our listeners we were going to talk about what's going on in the locker room right now. What do you think Nevada is going to be, what their coach is going to be saying, what changes are they going to make to put some points on the board for the second half?
Well, in terms of rushing, we've been talking about it. I mean, they've honestly been doing fine on the rushing game, but I know they're talking to the offense and they're saying, hey, wide receivers, on these designated pass plays, you need to kind of come back and keep your eyes back on the quarterback so in case he gets under duress pretty quickly, you can kind of work your way back to him, get a completion, and then try to make a man miss. And then I know they're talking to the defense and saying, hey, guys, y'all are doing pretty well overall, but you need to really, really shore up that tackling. Open field tackling is killing this Brave team as make a man, you aren't able to make that first tackle, then he gets 5 more yards, and then it's up to the next wave of defenders.
Right.
So they just really need to work on that open field tackling. And other than that, I know they're just going to say, hey, guys, just keep doing what we're doing. But on the Sulphur Springs side, it's hey, guys, do not let your foot off the gas. Keep doing what you're doing. In fact, I would argue, get even more explosive. Continue to bring out the trick plays, as honestly, they've worked really well for Sulphur Springs this year. Last year, it was very kind of gimmicky. It was almost kind of a, we don't really know what to do but this at this point. But they have been really smart with the play calls and when to bring in those trick plays. As one of them we saw easily went 18 yards from C.J. Williams. So just keep on keeping on that Wildcat side of the field. But the Braves, I know they're just saying, hey, guys, The scoreboard may not indicate it, but just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
And wide receivers, you got to do a better job because we're trailing in this one, and we need our quarterback to kind of lead us to the promised land.
Right.
But it's not going to happen if we cannot get some completions.
Well, that's great advice. I hope they're listening all the way down in the locker room to Ross, because it's great advice and really exactly what they need to be doing. And I think on the other side of the ball, community, I think them running the ball so much and taking so much time to snap their plays and running the ball, not stopping the clock. That first half was finished in under an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, they did not have enough time to put some points on the board. Now, maybe that would have meant that the Wildcats would have put more points on the board, because the Wildcats put another 7 on the board right at the as there was 4 seconds left. They turned it over on downs, and the Wildcats turned it into 7 points. But they really, I don't think they're managing the clock as well as they could be. They really just are spending too much time not getting up on the ball, and when they run so many plays, running plays, then that doesn't stop the clock, and it just went too quickly, really, I think.
No, you're absolutely right, and that was something I noted, was that we were over halfway through the first quarter, and do you know how much game time that took? 10 minutes. So
yes.
Essentially the same amount of time they actually played
yeah.
the game.
Right.
And it slowed down a lot in the second quarter when you saw community start to pass more. Sulphur Springs the same, starting to pass. But yeah, no, you're exactly right. They have got to manage this game clock better, and something I didn't mention was they, of course, need to get stops on defense and get that Wildcat offense off the field so they can get right back on and keep moving the ball, potentially score. So they're just going to have to, and like I said, they're just going to be relying more on the quarterback for that exact reason. So they just need to get receptions on the wide receivers and not kind of fall back on their game plan, which is run, or else they could find themselves trailing potentially even more.
Right. And I'm probably going to jinx it by this next subject, Ross, but very few penalties in the first half. We had the false start penalty against the Wildcats, and that backed them up. They made them a 1st and 15 that time. The Wildcats had a delay of game at one time because they couldn't get the play in. And I'm trying to think of what other penalties that there were. I don't think there were anymore. Have to check the film later. But so surprisingly, a kind of a clean game so far. So I think that really all that means is that as the teams progress into the season and they get more comfortable and they learn more, they play better. And so now that will probably mean that we'll see the yellow flags flying all of the second half just because I brought it up. But we'll see.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this potentially gets worse for the Braves, the visiting Braves here tonight, that we don't see like Liberty Ilo. You don't start to see a lot of frustration boil over and a lot of
frustration
penalties.
Yeah, frustration penalties. Yes, we don't want to see that. Well, as the Community Braves Band finishes up their UIL show, it's been a great presentation for those of you watching on our YouTube streaming channel. We're going to take another break and hear from some more of our halftime sponsors and get ready for the Wildcat Band and Drill Team to come out for their performances. We'll take a break and be right back in just a moment. James say anything? And we're back here at Gerald Prim Stadium where the UIL show for Community Braves Bands just finished up, and they're moving their all of their apparatus off of the field, and as the Blue Blazes get lined up on the opposite side of the field, and then man oh man, that Wildcat band is lining up on the far side of the field as well. Just a large presentation from the Wildcat band that we're excited for. Your Wildcats 21-0 over the Nevada Community Braves. Great first half that they played. The other props are being brought out onto the field. It amazes me how much stuff that they bring, and certainly amazes me how much they have to take to those
Sulphur Springs High School proudly presents the award-winning
away games.
Blue Blazes.
Here come the Blue Blazes.
Officers for the 2022 to 2023 line are Senior Lieutenants Carter Charlton, Jackie Monroy. Senior Lieutenants Emily James, Sally Sproutings. Co-Captain Jocelyn Yanez. And Captain Olivia Worth. The Blazes would like to give a shout out to their Blaze of the Week, Gracie Johnson, and their Spirit Girl of the Week, Layla Poe. The Blazes want to thank their Spotlight Teacher of the Week, Mrs. Amber Warren. The Blazes are under the direction of Meredith Dial and Assistant Director Shaylee Caldwell. The Blazes would like to highlight their sponsors for the week, Kevin Basin Vet Services, Masterpiece Ultrasound, McKee Fencing and Decks, Mike Mason, Auntie and Debbie Howard, Vortex Tractor, and Nottingham Dodge. Now, join the Blazes as they travel into the unknown with an exciting skirt routine. Ladies and gentlemen, here they come. Say it with me. Man, oh man, that Wildcat band. The band is being led onto the field by senior drum majors Catherine Ella Rosa and juniors Catherine Starzlick, Jeremy Resendez, and Lauren Menard. The Wildcat band would like to recognize this week's section of the week and Spirit Stick recipient, the tuba section. And this week's band members of the week are Brooklyn Person and Austin Watland. Tonight, the Wildcat band continues to take flight with our show. Come fly with us.
Shake the ground and scorch the earth. But perhaps what is most shocking
Man, oh man, that Wildcat band.
What another great performance. Yes, sir.
Looks like we got some more. Our apologies.
It keeps going.
Man, oh man, that Wildcat band.
Yes, another great performance. Their UIL performance, and that's a new prop there. I don't remember that last time, Ross, with some kind of flying apparatus there.
Looks like some kind of dragon.
Yeah,
So
okay.
they really want to send the point home. You know, they want you to come fly with them.
There you go.
I don't know how that relates to Frank Sinatra, but you know what?
Hey,
I'll take
whatever it takes. And as we await the Wildcats to come back out on the field for this second half, I'm going to mention the culinary department one more time. The success and of any good culinary department, of course, hinges on, you know it, Ross, chocolate chip cookies. And I had two during the halftime here. They were fantastic. Missed out on the bread pudding. They had homemade bread pudding earlier. It was all gone.
I believe it. If it's bread pudding, absolutely.
Yes. So the Wildcats come back out on the field. We wait for community to come through their big arrowhead, right? And there they come waving their Texas flag out front. So teams making the much-needed adjustments. Ross thinks there's going to be a lot more passing on the community side, I guess. They're going to have to put something together, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Going to need a whole lot of passing, but sticking with what they know in rushing because it's worked very well for them. Like I said,
right,
over 1,300 yards rushing through 5 games. I mean, that average, as I was telling you before the game, Chad, 269 yards per game. I mean, that's
substantial.
Especially in this day and age where all offenses spread it out, 4 or 5 wide receivers. So to have a team that's rushing 250 plus a game, I mean, it's got to make all the hearts of the old heads really happy because, I mean, 60 yards passing per game, literally unheard of in the spread era.
Oh, right. And
I mean, Georgia Tech doesn't even run the triple option anymore.
Exactly. And of course, the Wildcats won the toss at the beginning of the before the game and elected to receive the kickoff. So that means, of course, the Wildcats will be kicking off the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff here, and community will be receiving. So community will be trying to make something happen on their first possession, I'm sure.
And they'll need something, and not only will they need to get a touchdown, they kind of need to do it quickly because, as we were talking about during halftime, Sulphur Springs got 4 times to touch the ball on offense. 3 of those they scored, so you have to imagine they're not going to be as successful this time around. So they really kind of, if community wants to come out on top, they really need to get a touchdown on this drive and quickly force some kind of stop on defense.
And so the Wildcats come out and tee up that ball to get ready for the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff. They're discussing. The temperatures drop down to 71 degrees here at Gerald Prim Stadium. No more wind. The flags are very still. So we've had some good deep kicks here on both sides of the ball. Good conditions for deep kicking, I guess. So let's see what we've got in store for these Wildcats.
Santa Cruz's kick is away. Not much altitude, but it does take a good couple of bounces. Ooh, but it bounces outside of the sideline here on the near side. So with the flag down, it will be moved up to, I believe, the 40-yard line.
Oh, goodness. And I think I jinxed it, Ross, because I said we didn't see that many yellow flags. In the very first play, they're going to throw a yellow flag. And they're going to make them kick it again.
All right, so opting for the re-kick.
Yep.
So it will be at the original spot, which is, of course, 35.
Yeah, and then they'll...
Kind of surprised they opted for the re-kick, but who am I to judge?
Right. Whatever it takes.
That's why they get paid the big bucks.
That's right. And they obviously weren't listening to your advice during halftime.
Maybe we need we have a couple of inputs in here out to the field deck, to the crowd mic.
Right.
Maybe we just need to find some way to hook right into their locker room so they can listen in and get some inside scoops.
Need a good, strong AM radio. And here comes the re-kick. Uriel Santa Cruz kicking from right to left here.
And the kick is away, and it's got a lot more altitude on this one as number 26 for the Braves picks it up, starts taking it back, and he makes a couple of men miss before he's taken down at the Brave 25-yard line.
Yeah, if he had let that one go, it probably would have gone out of bounds the way the angle that was kicked. But he snatched it up and made it up right to the 25-yard line, like you say, and that's where they're going to start their 1st and 10. The Braves are going to be deep in their own territory and have 75 yards to go, trying to put some points on the board. At the beginning of the second half, your Wildcats are up 21-0 over the Nevada Community Braves.
The Braves, if not on this play, at some point in this drive are going to be looking for a big kind of trick play, dial it up kind of play.
Right.
They really need to claim back momentum after giving up a touchdown with just 4 seconds left on the first half. Instead, they opt for the handoff, and it only nets them 2 yards on the first play of the drive.
So the Wildcat defense has got the Nevada offense's number, and they called that one well and wrapped him up. So it's going to see if the Wildcats can keep the momentum going on defense, and they keep stopping Community on their run, and their quarterback just wasn't real effective on the passing game in the first half.
No, he sure wasn't, and it looks like they're going to kind of try and stay to their game plan and sticking to the running game as they only get 2 yards on the second down and 8, bringing up 3rd and 6.
A little generous on the spot there that his forward progress, they moved him all the way up to the 29-yard line, so that's going to make it 3rd down and 6 for Nevada. They can't keep running it like that and expect to get a first down. They may be up for a passing play this time, but we were saying it wasn't real effective. The quarterback just didn't seem real accurate on passing, and that may be why they're dedicated to the running game. So
no, you're exactly right. We saw a number of times in the first half where the quarterback Medlin would have a wide receiver open, but just kind of underthrow him or overthrow him. So
I'll start here.
Oh boy,
yeah, defense really
Number 75, the offense.
calling out, and with very few penalties in the first half. We've got our first offensive penalty here with a false start by Community. That's going to back them up 5 yards. It's going to make it 3rd and 11. So 3rd and very long, and one of the Wildcat defenders was jumping up and down trying to throw his yellow flag and get the official's attention there, and finally the official threw the flag on that one. So good call by the defense and the officials.
The Braves, after the false start, face a very tough 3rd and 11. It'll be on Medlin, and Medlin delivers a strike to his wide receiver, who does come down with it, but it'll be up to where the refs place him on 4th down. It looks like they'll mark him 1 yard shy of the first down marker.
Yes, that's a good spot where he caught it, and he was running the other direction when he did, but it's going to make him 4th and 1, and of course they're going to go for it. I'm just sure of it. And they're changing out some of their personnel on the Community side. The Wildcats defense is all in.
To give you an idea of just how old school Nevada is, and they rush to the line. They're trying to catch the defense off guard, and they hand it off to a running back who is able to break through the first wave before he is taken down after a gain of, well, it looks like almost 10. It'll be 7 on the rush.
Yes, and Jackson Younger in on the tackle there for your Wildcats, helping bring the running back down, but certainly more than enough yards to get a first down. Moves the Braves up to their own 42-yard line.
You know, part of the reason why this offense isn't very up-tempo is because, and I was about to note this on the 4th down attempt, is that their quarterback, River Medlin, goes to the sideline to get the play from the coach. I mean, that's something that hasn't been done in decades.
Yeah, it's taking a lot of extra time.
So Medlin hands it off to his running back, and once again, the running back has lots of green grass to work with. They average 6.7 yards per carry, and, well, they doubled it on that one. 12 more yards, and they move it to the other side of the 50 to the Sulphur Springs 42.
Landon Fields in on the tackle there to bring down their running back.
Yeah, having a quarterback go and get the play call from the coach. Normally it's something you kind of give to one of your wideouts, and then they go out, tell it to the quarterback, who relays it to the whole team.
Right.
So I guess they figured they just want to skip a middleman there. Oh, great open field tackle from number 16, David Campbell.
Yes, David Campbell just busted through that line and tripped up their running back for a loss. Going to give him they're going to mark him down to loss of 1, so it's going to make it 2nd and 11. And the clock's ticking. It's already down to 7:50 in this 3rd quarter. I'm telling you, these running plays, and like you're talking about, the quarterback coming back in, bringing or somebody bringing back the play in, and there's only 8 seconds left on the play clock.
Yeah, so kind of the opposite of an up-tempo offense, but it looks like it doesn't really matter here in the first half of this 3rd quarter, as once again the Braves break through a line and get almost 10 yards, but there is a flag down.
You're on the carry, tackled by.
Yep, I'm telling you, I jinxed it, and he's got the ball, and he's facing like he's going to mark it off against Community, but they're going to have a little conference about it out there. The line judge coming in from the side here to get in on this conversation. he can relay that back to.
He's saying, hold on.
Yeah.
Y'all have plans to go to Texas OU without me?
Right, what? He's going to
You even rented a hotel room without me?
bring the penalty back to the Wildcat side. Here.
Non-flagrant party, number 7 of defense. 15 North Phillies will get a run. All right, first down. That is number 7's first non-flagrant party foul.
So it was
I think he said non-flagrant targeting foul?
right.
I heard the non-flagrant, but the third one was...
Yeah, and so that's a personal foul, obviously a huge penalty against your Wildcats, and they said that was first occurrence of that because a player can be removed from the game after another occurrence. And so big advantage for the Braves as they move down to the 23-yard line, 1st and 10 on the Wildcat 23.
With the rush and the personal foul, it moves the ball almost 20 yards downfield, and just like that, another quick rush gives them almost another 10. Wow, they are really moving the ball methodically downfield.
Yeah, they're going to mark them about 7 down there.
Yeah, it looks
3
to be
yards
so.
to go, 2nd and 3. They're in the red zone.
Just about halfway through this third quarter, your Wildcats still lead 21-0. However, Community looks like they have their best chance to score here on the night as they face a 2nd and 3 at the Wildcat 15. Looks like a man jumped, and yes, they will call it. So a 2nd and 3 becomes a tougher 2nd and 8.
Wildcat defense changes out some players there, and number 18 comes in for the Wildcats.
Penalty, of course, stopping the clock. 6:23 now left to go in the third.
That's Zach Thomas, number 18 for the Wildcats coming in.
Full start, number 2 of the offense. Flag penalty, replay, 2nd out.
That's good. Backing it up on the Braves there. False start. You heard the official backing it up 5 yards. So it's going to make it 2nd and about 8, I would guess.
And that was running back Brandel Hernandez who was called for the false start. So more often than not, it's usually an offensive lineman who gets called for that penalty. But interesting that's called against the running backs. 2 men in the backfield with Medlin, the quarterback for the Braves, and about ready to snap the ball. He instead gets an audible, elects for that, and they opt to hand it off to the running back. But the Wildcat defense, they were expecting that one as he is taken down right at the line of scrimmage.
Yes, and the play clock had gotten down to 2 seconds. They're kind of pushing it on the play clock. Community is. We talk about how they go over to the sideline and get the play and then bring it back in. And, what really doesn't give them, they don't give themselves a lot of time because 17-16 on the play clock as he brings the play back into the rest of the players. 13-12. Then they have to scatter and get up to the line of scrimmage. 5-4.
And Medlin fakes a handoff. He's looking for a man downfield, and he's got a man. Great job threading it into what looks like double coverage. That's number 15, the wide receiver on the play.
Yes, and Ty, number 11 for the Wildcats, tried to break that up, and it was just a pretty good pass. After we said he wasn't very accurate, they threaded it right in there and found his receiver for the first down.
It's interesting that he's kind of missed a couple of wide open targets, but when it comes to a guy who's in double coverage, he just threads it.
Right.
Just fires a missile in there. It's a first down for the Braves. Now 4:44 and ticking in the third quarter. Wildcats still lead 21-0, but it's a 1st and 10 from the Wildcat 11. They hand it off to number 2, Brandel Hernandez, who is able to power his way forward for a couple of yards, but looks like maybe 3 or 4 on the first down rush.
Yeah, it's like a rugby game down there. All the players were involved, pushing and shoving, and I don't think he ever went down. The official gave him that forward progress of about 2 yards now, what's going to look like. 2nd and 8. They can get a first down without getting a touchdown. The ball's about on the 9.5-yard line. But of course, they're going to try to get some points on the board and put it on in.
Quickly rushing up to the line. 10 seconds left to go on the play clock. They hand it off to their running back, and he is able to power his way forward, but not for a whole lot. In fact, he'll maybe get 3 on the play. So it was a 2nd and 8. Looks like it'll be 3rd and 6, so looks like just about 2 on the rush.
And then the quarterback brings the play back in from the sideline. Wish you hadn't told me that every time. Now it's wearing me out. Making me.
Honestly, I don't know how the quarterback isn't worn out by this point.
Right.
Putting that much, making the quarterback do that much, and oh my goodness, a running back is all alone on the left side for what has to be a touchdown. And yes, a score it is for Community as they get their first touchdown with 3:20 left to go in the 3rd.
Yes, so Community keeping it on the ground and getting marching on down the field, putting it into the end zone. We await their extra point try here.
So no funky formation here for the PAT try. Instead, as we saw in punts, kind of a couple of trick formations, but this time the kick, no question about it, it's up and it's good. So the Wildcats still lead, but now by 21-7, a 14-point lead.
3:20 left in this 3rd quarter. We're going to take a break and be back with the kickoff in just a moment.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. We just saw the Community Braves get their first offensive score on the night, but it took a little bit of time. In fact, 8 minutes and 40 seconds of the 3rd quarter. They got the opening kickoff of the 2nd half, and again, with 3:20 left to go in the 3rd, they just scored their first touchdown on the night. So if they want to get back in this one, they have to at least twice get 2 3-and-outs from the Wildcat offense, and then do the exact same. But again, still have less time. So just as we were talking about, they kind of need to rush it a little bit.
Right. Well, they're maybe rushing too much. And a little short kick there.
And it's scooped up by Matt Mitchell. Matt Mitchell with a little bit of green grass to work with on the far side. He breaks one tackler before being shoved out just about at the 40-yard line for Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, it's going to be good starting field position for your Wildcats. Probably maybe the best they've had so far. They're going to be right about their own 40-yard line, and going to be their Hooten's Hardware first downs where they're going to be starting. So, and I think the Wildcats will make quick work of this. Let's see if they can put it in the end zone. And the rest of this 3 minutes and 13 seconds of this quarter. So that's just unheard of. I don't know what we would say about the coaching style that would take up so much time, Ross. I don't know what other coaches would say. Just it's very odd.
No, you're definitely right. And as I was talking about, they definitely stuck with their game plan. But just as you said, they stuck with it too intensely as C.J. Williams breaks through the line for a first down rush.
Yes, what a great run there right up the middle and got about 11 yards to put it right on the 50-yard line. So your Wildcats will be starting at midfield for this Hooten's Hardware first down. They'll they almost caught Community off guard there. They just went up to the line of scrimmage and snapped it and ran it right up the middle. Now they've got 2 receivers out to the left, 1 out to the far right.
Driver pointing out the blitzer. He hands it off to his running back. Oh no, he fakes it to C.J. Williams and it's intercepted, sails it over his head, and now he's starting to take it back the other way inside the 40 to about the 35-yard line. So if the Braves needed a play to get back in this one, it came quickly as the Community gets the ball just about right back.
And I think that was number 2, Brandel Hernandez, on the reception there, or the interception for the Braves. He just walked right into it and made a real good run back. This may be what the Braves need to get a little momentum going, as they're going to be well into Wildcat territory, starting their 1st and 10 on the Wildcat 37-yard line.
That's Driver's 3rd interception on the season. He's thrown just 2 in the first 5 games, but on the first play of the drive, the Braves hand it off to a running back, and he can get 2, but not more, as the Wildcat defense swarms to him.
Well, yeah, that was the defense. Of course, the Wildcat defense out there for almost 9 minutes of the almost 3/4 of the first part of the half there, and then a couple of plays, and the Wildcat defense has to go back out there. So hope they don't get winded or worn down by these running plays. But there's just so much time in between. We're just taking their sweet time getting back up to the line of scrimmage. Here comes the Braves.
Medlin has a man motioning right, and number 2, who was able to make that interception just moments ago, can't get much on the rush. In fact, it looks like they'll give him maybe 2 on that one. No, just 1.
Well, they're going to.
Loss of a yard on the play.
Yeah, they're going to mark him a loss of about a yard there. They had the gain on the first down play, and then they're going to lose a yard. So now it's going to be 3rd, and gosh, it's going to be 9. It's going to be a real 3rd and long situation for the Braves, and a great opportunity for your Wildcats to maybe put a stop to this right here.
Yeah, and just like previous drives, you have to imagine this is 4-down territory for the Braves, so the Wildcats need to get some kind of stop, whether it be an incompletion or a sack, and there's the sack. No, a fumble, and the Wildcats fall on it. So just like that, they get it right back on a forced fumble and a fumble recovery by number 50, it looks like.
Maybe 68 here. 60.
60, you're right.
60, yeah.
That is Drew Hodges on the defensive line.
Drew Hodges coming up big for your Wildcats on defense. Thought he was going to sack the quarterback and just rip the ball out of his hand, fell on it, picked it up, and so now strange turn of events with 1 minute and 1 second left in the 3rd quarter. The Wildcats are back at midfield, 1st and 10, right where they were when they threw that interception.
So Driver doesn't have much time to dwell on his interception moments ago. Instead, going right back out there, and CJ on the first play of the drive makes a man miss. He's inside the 30 and walks out of bounds inside the 25-yard line. Do you think that's an explosive play, Chad?
Yes, right. And he stiff-armed that defender and knocked him to the ground and went for another that's a hugely explosive play there because they're going to mark that down. He's gone 26 yards on that play. 54 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Your Wildcats are up 21-7. They're marching down the field, threatening to put more points on the board against Community.
Well, and the fact that Community got the ball back, had a chance to kind of steal back a lot of momentum, make it a 1-possession game, but the fact that Sulphur Springs is now driving with under a minute to go left in the 3rd, you have to imagine even a field goal at this point could put this game out of reach for the Braves.
Well, just because it takes them so much time to get anything done.
Yeah, I mean, let's go back to that first touchdown drive here in the 3rd quarter. I mean, the Braves, they did exactly what they needed to do. They stuck with their game plan, kept running the football and throwing when need be, but it came at a great cost of game clock. Almost 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Exactly. Almost 3/4 of the quarter.
And so now Sulphur Springs is going to try and put this game away. If they can score on this drive, CJ gets the handoff once again, makes a man miss, makes another man miss before getting tackled at it looks like just about the 1st down marker.
Yep, looks like they're going to move these chains. Yep, they're going to move the chains, stopping the clock. 10 seconds left for the half. Once they start the clock back up, I'm sure the Wildcats are going to let that run out and change into the field. Let's see. Yeah, there's 5 seconds. It's counting down. They're coming to the sideline. That's going to be the end of the 3rd quarter. Wildcats up over the Braves 21-7 and threatening to score. We'll be back with you for the start of the 4th quarter in just a moment. Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. It is Friday, October 7th, and a bit later than last year when we started district play, as Sulphur Springs has moved down to 4A, now playing just 5 district games. Right. But something Coach Fairclough talked about during the week is that makes every district game all the more important. Right. And the fact that Sulphur Springs heads into the final quarter of their district opener, leading by 2 scores against a team that is, well, pretty stubbornly sticking with the run. They look to be well on their way to a 1-0 district start. Yep. So the Wildcats lining up. It's going to be 1st and 10 right inside the Braves red zone at the 20-yard line. Driver fakes the handoff to C.J. Williams, keeps it himself. He's inside the 15 before he is there's a flag. Tackled real late out of bounds. And just like that, we have some extracurricular activities here on the near side. Yeah, coach is getting involved, pushing the players back. He was pushed down, Driver was pushed down way outside the out of bounds there, a flagrant foul as we like to call it, and flags came in from everywhere, and the players started pushing. Luckily, no other flags were thrown from all the pushing. I didn't see any. The officials may not have had any flags left, but let's looking for a driver out there, making sure he's okay, because he slid off into way off of the sideline there. So that's going to be a personal foul against the Braves, I know. That would be great news for the Wildcats, because it would put them down with another first down right near the goal line. But
so still being discussed by the referees.
Yep, they're getting everybody involved here. That was...
Yeah, it's kind of tough not to call one of those late hits out of bounds when you've got a player who is out of bounds and then they get shoved when they're past the white of the sideline.
Well, yeah, we call that way out of bounds, I would say, yeah.
So still being discussed, Sulphur Springs has a 1st and 10 at the Brave 14, but we still have a personal foul penalty to be added on, so it'll be placed, I believe, at the 7, half the distance to the goal.
Right. But and the first down. It'll be a first down again, I believe.
Oh, you're absolutely right. A 1st and goal at the 7.
Right. Yeah.
But still being discussed, so.
Well, there was a lot of pushing and shoving after, and you can imagine that this is the time, what we said at halftime, when emotions start to run high. Certainly on the Braves side, because they're down 2 touchdowns, and the Wildcats are threatening to put more points on the board. So their frustrations are running high, and they decided to take it out on our quarterback when he's kept the ball and run way out of bounds and pushed him down. So then, of course, it gets all the other players kind of riled up.
That was number 5, Jack Hutcherson, who was the player who shoved driver out.
Right. Here comes the call. Hopefully.
By both teams. Personal foul, late hit out of bounds, number 8 of the defense. After the play on sportsmanlike conduct, number 5 of the offense. He also had a second unsportsmanlike conduct foul as he continued to participate. Number 5 is disqualified for the remainder of the game.
So CJ has been ejected for picking up 2 personal foul penalties.
Well, so...
and he, of course, not happy with that.
Very upset. And that's why we say these emotions run high. He's headed to the locker room. And obviously trying to defend his teammate, Brady Driver, who was a blatant out-of-bounds hit. And Brady Driver, by the way, coming back into the game, looks like he's just fine. CJ ejected from the game and will be spending the rest of the game in the locker room. Won't have. He's had a wonderful game. Certainly can't. Those 2 penalties on that one play cannot erase what a wonderful game that he's had for the Wildcats. But as they discuss of how they're going to mark this off, it's all the way back to the 28, 29. We're going to call that the 28-yard line. So the Wildcats have got 1st and 6 miles to go here. The first down, to get to a first down, is going to be all the way at the 4-yard line, so that's going to be 25 yards. No, actually, because of the penalties and the way they were, it's going to be 1st and 10, but backed all the way up to the 29-yard line. We'll discuss that in a minute, how that works. But the Wildcats are 1st and 10 on the Braves' 29-yard line, and they're coming up to the ball.
Driver, wow, makes a man miss, takes off himself, and he's got some green grass to work with. He breaks a tackle before he is taken down pretty darn near close to the first down marker.
Right, pretty darn near close. He's going to pick up 8.5 there, and he ran and just like a running back, and ran over a couple of guys and got well on down the field there. So good scrambling by Brady Driver.
And something I've been impressed about this year is how much Driver has grown in both experience and maturity. Last year, you saw a lot of him kind of opting more like you see a lot of dual threat quarterbacks do, you know. Once the pocket breaks down, you don't see guys open, you immediately take off. But what I've been impressed about is about how long he's been sticking with it, staying in the pocket and using his legs only as a second resort. But on this one, on the design QB keeper, Driver still going into the end zone for a touchdown. We'll wait for the signal. They might mark him just shy.
Mark him short.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great second and third effort. He had everybody guessing what was going on, and he got on down the field trying to get to the corner. Dove for the goal line, but I guess his knee hit right before he had the ball get across the into the goal line. So it's going to be first and inches for your Wildcats to get into the end zone. 10:44 and ticking in the ball game. The Wildcats are up 21-7. They're about to punch it in.
So looks like a timeout will be called. I believe it's by Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, they didn't like what they saw there on that defense. They're going to give the guys a little time to rest and regroup. We're going to take a break with them. We'll be back here, Wildcat football at Prim Stadium, in just a moment.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. Just about a minute and a half into this fourth quarter, your Wildcats lead by 2 scores, 21-7, but just a yard to go, and they will have yet another touchdown here tonight. We talked about earlier in the game how the magic number against this Community Brave football team seemed to be 29, as 2 of their losses, their opponents scored 29 points.
Right.
Their opener being a 29-0 blowout shutout loss, and then losing 29-28. So I almost joked to myself during a commercial that if I'm wondering if Coach Faircloth was going to go for 2 just to get to that magical 29.
Exactly, yes.
But also on the plus side, if they did go for the 2-point conversion, assuming, of course, they get the touchdown, at that point, Nevada Community would have to not only score 3 touchdowns, but one of them being a 2-point try to tie it.
Exactly. So who knows? That's right.
But just as we saw earlier tonight, an uber heavy package for the Wildcats on the 1-yard line of Community, trying to ice this game away if they can score another touchdown here. 21-7, they lead. Driver keeps it himself and makes a great spin move to fall into the end zone for a Wildcat touchdown.
Yeah, Brady Driver was not giving that up. He was going to come back after that rough tackle he endured out of bounds earlier. He takes it on in and gives the Wildcats 6 more points as Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go, Wildcats. We await Uriel Santa Cruz to kick that extra point. 27-7 right now, 10:30 left in the ball game.
Kick is up. It looks like maybe a Brave got his hands on it, but it is still good.
Yeah, so that's going to make it 28-7. The Wildcats did not go for 2 to the disappointment of Ross Lebinsky. We'll be back here in just a moment with the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff at Prim Stadium. And we're back at Gerald Prim Stadium where your Wildcats are up 28-7 over the Nevada Community Braves. It's just been a great ball game so far, Ross, certainly because it's been in our favor. The Wildcats are going to be kicking off the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff after that score. They'll be moving from left to right here in this last quarter of the game. And unfortunate situation as those tensions ran high and all those yellow flags flew, all the penalties, and then the Wildcats had a player ejected, but back on track now. Brady Driver punched it in for another touchdown, and I think this kind of the icing on the cake for they've kind of gotten the Braves on the defensive now because they take so much time off the clock. There's no way they can score 3 times.
Yeah, and if they took the same exact amount of time off the clock as their last drive, that would leave the game with just, 1 minute and 50 seconds left. There is 10:30 left to go in this game.
Right, exactly.
So they can't exactly just run it to their heart's contempt. They have to pass, and they really need to pass very frequently. In fact, they need a big chunk play.
Yep.
So kickoff is away. It's taken inside the 10. A man is able to break a tackle before he is taken down by the second wave at about the 20-yard line. But there's a Wildcat diving for it, so maybe a ball came loose.
Yeah, it looked like it did, but the official is calling it for the Braves. He's saying the Braves are going to keep that ball, and they're going to start right about the 21-yard line. They're going to have a long way to go and a short time to get there. 10:21 left in this ball game. The Wildcats up 28-7 over the Braves. So we'll see what they have in store. I think they're already coming out and getting on the ball pretty quick. Wildcat defense is coming out. They're just going to have to pass it, Ross. They have no choice. They keep it on the ground. They're just not going to have enough time. It looks like they're going to run it.
Nope, they go for the fake handoff. Medlin looking deep, and once again just throwing not the arm that I was kind of expecting coming into this one. I mean, I know when you see 60 yards per game average passing, you kind of think, okay, maybe this is just a very run-heavy, like just passing whenever need be, but I don't want to pile it on too much, but this quarterback is just... I just don't think he's the answer.
He certainly didn't have the arm to get it into what looked like double or triple coverage there with the Wildcats.
So Medlin once again opting to pass, and he drops the football. It looks like he did fall on it.
Yeah, I think he got it back. So the Braves are going to keep the ball, it looks like. But yeah, the quarterback for the Braves is really struggling. He's going to be dropped for serious loss of yardage there. It's now going to be 3rd and about 15. The ball's all the way back on the 16-yard line. He's over on the sideline getting the play to bring back to his players, and it's crunch time for them. I mean, now they really have to throw it. They've got 16 yards to go, and 9:36 left on the game clock.
Already taken up a minute on this 3 set of plays, too. So they opt for the screen, wisely so, and there's a block in the back. It is uncalled, but he will get some pretty significant yardage, but still not enough needed for a first down.
Yeah, he picked up about half of it, maybe a yard less, but now they're just going to have to bring out the punt crew. Here we go on the split punt formation. I'd like to know a coach's theory on this too.
It's kind of like, was it Ennis last year that fake kicked every time they would walk up like they were going to kick it and then walk back? And I hate to say it, but over the head of the punter on the play, Medlin, he tries to keep it. Instead, it's blocked for a safety.
It's blocked by the Wildcats, rolls out the end, and that's going to give the Wildcats 2 more points to go to the 1 point beyond the magic 29. Now it's 30-7 as the Braves make a huge error, and their punter, bad snap to the punter, over the head of the punter. He rolls into the end zone. He picks it up, tries to punt it away, but the Wildcats are right on top of him, block it. It rolls out of the end zone, and that, by rule, is a safety. 2 points for the Wildcats.
And on top of that, they now have to kick it to Sulphur Springs. So if it wasn't bad already, well, it just got a little bit worse for the Braves.
Yes, and it backs them up a little bit more for their kick. And they have to kick from the 20-yard line. So not only this is one of the strangest rules and strangest plays in football as the Wildcats get 2 points and get the ball. So usually you're kicking off because you've scored points.
And you can tell this is something Sulphur Springs was not exactly prepped for, as the coaching staff had to kind of yell at the players to
It's like you're
move
trying
up.
to get them all up. They're all the way back here on their own 20-yard line, and they just don't think the guys can kick it that far. And so he puts it up, and it falls about the 30.
Looks like Jackson Hare has got it. He'll start taking it upfield, and he's able to get through the first line. He's inside the second wave before he is shoved out at the 30-yard line. Wow.
Yes, and that Community Braves player continued that tackle after they were well out of bounds, but no flag on that play. He was still we'll say he was in the middle of that tackle, but what a great run back, and that's going to give the Wildcats fantastic field position on their Hooten's Hardware first down coming up.
Yeah, just as you were saying, if it wasn't already good starting field position with getting the kick following the safety, then on top of that, the return man Jackson Hare adds on even more. In fact, adding on what had to be 30, maybe even 40 yards.
No, it was 40 yards from the 30 to the 30. He took it all the way back and finally got pushed out of bounds.
So now, Sulphur Springs, if they weren't looking pretty before, now they can just rush to their heart's desire and watch that clock dwindle as they get closer and closer to a 1-0 start in district play, now 5-1 overall. On the first play, they hand it off to their running back, who just barrels his way over defender for almost enough yardage needed for a first down.
Oh, great gain there. They're going to give him about 8 yards, it looks like there, Ross, so maybe it's going to be 2nd and 2 there.
Gain of 8, 2nd down 2.
And so they get to the 20-yard line. They're going to get a new set of downs, and they're going to be in Brave territory into their red zone.
So I believe I was just about to say Jackson Hare, his night might be over, but instead he just switches sides. He's now on the right side of the offensive line. 2 wide left. And Driver looking for 15 all the way, and he had a defender already one step on him, but just overthrown by Driver. So the incompletion makes it 3rd and 2, still at the Brave 22-yard line. 7:50 left to go in this one. Sulphur Springs leads in their district opener, 30-7.
Yeah, great ball game by this Wildcat offense and the Wildcat defense, because they've really held Community on their running game.
Driver hands it off once again to his barreling back, number 32, who has what looks like 5 yards on the rush, and that is more than enough for a first down.
Wildcats are in the Braves red zone. They're going to be spotted about the 18-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10 for their Hooten's Hardware first down, and they're just barreling down the field. You know, you kind of see the frustration on the Braves defense as well as their offense. They're just making too many mistakes. I think they're getting worn down mentally on this game as well as physically.
You're absolutely right, and we started seeing that on the last drive when they very forcefully shoved Brady Driver out of bounds. Is that just like you were talking about, you start to get frustrated. Your team's losing, you have a chance to win 3 straight, and then you kind of run into a brick wall here in the Sulphur Springs Wildcats. So it's very, very frustrating. It's the same thing the Wildcats felt when they went to Hallsville 2-0 and then ran up against a high-flying air raid attack in the Bobcats. So it's good because it kind of brings you back down to earth and lets you know that, hey, we've got stuff to work on. In fact, one of the coaches here in Sulphur Springs said, I think it was Alexi Upton, soccer coach, said, we learn more from losses than we do wins.
Right.
And it'll be kind of tough for Coach Brandon Faircloth to meet with his team tomorrow and be like, hey, guys, this is what we didn't do well, because they did a lot really well here tonight.
Yep. Wildcats lining up 2nd and
10. Driver fakes the handoff, takes it off with himself, and he is able to thread the sideline here on the near side before he walks out at what looks to be the 6-yard line.
Going to be very close to a first down. Yep, they're going to move the chains, and that's going to put the Wildcats 1st and goal on about the 6-yard line for their next set of down. It's the Hooten's Hardware first down.
So Driver has already surpassed 100 yards rushing in this game, not to mention all the passing yards he's thrown. So he has been, just like C.J. Williams, who was unfortunately ejected earlier, he has been pivotal to this Wildcat offense here tonight. 6:25 left to go. Clock stops since Driver walked out of bounds. He hands it off to his running back, and he is just creamed by a defender in the backfield. It will be a loss of, it looks like 1.
Yes, it was 22 on the carry there for the Wildcats, but the Braves had could be 26. Oh no, 26 is getting the play called in there. So yeah, the Braves read that play very well and just met him at the line of scrimmage. The loss of 1 yard. It's going to be 2nd down and 7. Ball on the 7-yard line. The Wildcats threatening to put it back into the end zone and really put the icing on the cake.
Fakes the handoff. Driver keeps it himself, makes a man miss, but the second tackler does get him for only a rush of 2 from the QB keeper.
Oh, but another flag is thrown.
And it looks like with a defender for the Braves clapping, it should be against the Wildcats.
We'll see what this call is.
As it stands right now, it's a rush of 2.
Yep. Brady's driver's just been a beast tonight, just running over, keeping the ball and running over the defender.
Looks like conduct. Number 15, the offense. 15-yard penalty for the end of the run. Be 3rd down.
So that was Jackson Hare who was called for the unsportsmanlike penalty.
So not sure what that was, but I'm sure what it means, and that means 15 yards stepped off there against those Wildcats. So it's 3rd and goal from the 19-yard line. So that could be a momentum killer for this Wildcat offense as they have to step it on back almost to the 20-yard line, and they've got 2 downs to put it into the end zone. So we're going to see what kind of play call is coming in now from Faircloth. And it's going to be a timeout is what going to be called. Well, the team's going to take a timeout. We're going to take a timeout with them, and we'll be back with you here at Prim Stadium in just a moment. And we're back here at Gerald Prim Stadium. Wildcats took a timeout to discuss their 3rd and very long chances here. 3rd and 19. Well, 3rd and goal from the 19. 5:12 left in the ball game. The Wildcats up 30-7.
Yeah, 3rd and 19. I like to call that one 3rd in the drive to Hallsville. So
that is a long way.
Don't remind me. I was so thrilled to realize that I could potentially never have to return there. And oh my goodness, the Wildcats get one more, and Jackson Hare got it. The man who was just called for the unsportsmanlike penalty takes it to the house, and the Wildcats have doubled what they were favored to win by 15, currently leading by 19. So with a good PAT try, they can put all those Dave Campbell's Texas high school football writers to shame.
Yes, absolutely. The Wildcats put 6 more points on the board with Brady Driver scrambling and breaking a tackle, and then throwing it into the end zone to connect with Jackson Hare for the touchdown. As Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats. Then Uriel Santa Cruz connects and puts it through the uprights. So 37-7, a 30-point lead. Your Wildcats are up over the Community Braves with 5:04 left in the ball game. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff in just a moment.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. The Wildcats got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty from Jackson Hare, who as a result, pushing the ball back to the 19-yard line on 3rd goal, no less. And then who else but Jackson Hare to get the reception from quarterback Brady Driver to give the Wildcats a 30-point lead, 37-7, with just over 5 minutes to go.
Yeah, just a wonderful redemption tonight. We saw one of the receivers, Lewis, I believe, drop a pass early in the game, and then he came back and connected 2 or 3 passes later and made a touchdown. So he redeemed himself, and Jackson Hare did as well. There's the kickoff, rolling off into the end zone. The Braves won't even try to field that one. They're going to come out and start their drive on the 25-yard line. They'll have 75 yards to go with 5:04 left, and as we know, if the Community Braves try to keep it on the ground, they just don't have enough time. The Wildcats up 37-7 over this Community team. So great. They were favored by 2 touchdowns, you said, or by 15 points.
15 points.
They've doubled that, 37-7. got a 30-point lead as they come out and try to make quick business here of getting down the field.
Yeah, and they'll need to be quicker than they have been all night long if they hope to get a touchdown, and instead opting straight for the pass and the wide receiver screen. A couple of good blocks, and he's able to be shoved out of bounds just shy of the 40 for the Braves. More than enough for a first down, though. So a great play call there on the wide receiver screen. A couple of good blockers from the fellow wideouts, and more than enough for the first down. Now just shy of midfield at about the 42-yard line, 37-yard line, it looks like. Medlin looking left again, once again opting for a wide receiver. That's number 6 this time around. That's Charlie Ott. And he is a very talented wideout, 5'11", 160 pounds, but very quick with a 4.540 time. And you saw his quickness on that play.
Yes, and he was wrapped up pretty quick by Austin Chaney there, number 3 for the Wildcats, who took him down, keeping him from gaining any more yardage. So that's going to make it 2nd and 6 for the Braves, and they've got to make quick time of this, or just really looking for just putting some points on the board. Big long pass.
And he was looking for a man in double coverage, a dangerous throw, his most dangerous of the night.
Yeah, almost intercepted there by number 11, Ty Bybee. So he got his hands on it but couldn't come down with it. That would have been a great play. But really a strange, like you say, a strange pass into that double coverage there.
Yeah, definitely a desperation heave. Luckily, he gets the ball right back. If that had gone the way I expected it to, he would have had a very unfortunate time watching that in film tomorrow.
Right.
And Medlin looking left. He's got a man, number 10. He is able to come down with the reception, but not before he gets 2 pretty big hits from the Wildcat defenders. So now T-minus 3:55 in this game. Wildcats still lead by 30, 37-7. The Braves, though, trying to get at least one more score to make it a bit more respectable.
Right, they're just 2 yards into Wildcat territory.
Medlin looking right. He had a man, but the ball bounced right out of the hands of his intended target.
Second down, 10.
I believe that was number 21, the intended target on that one.
Okay.
Let's find out who that is. Unfortunately,
not on the roster.
Not on the roster. Seems to be something of a recurring theme.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the coach's new way of kind of tricking people, is that they don't know, which player is which, so they can
change the numbers up.
So Medlin once again looking right. He's got a man and has a reception. He is able to get, looks like 7 yards before he is taken down by a defender. Forward progress.
He was pushed back by 8 of the Wildcat defense members there. Only 3 of them were not involved in the wrapping him up and pushing him back. He never. He was giving it a little bit of an effort, but they gave him all that forward progress, like you say, and that's going to make it 3rd and about 3. They're in on the Wildcat 41-yard line, trying to march down the field. Less than 3 minutes left to play in the ball game.
Medlin looking left all the way. He's got a man left, and number 10 breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle before he is taken down by the defensive backs at exactly the 25-yard line for the Wildcats.
I have to say that is a wonderful effort by the by the receiver for the Braves. He just kept fighting, kept going down the field, getting all the way down to the 25-yard line. So it's about a 16-yard gain on that. We'd call that an explosive play.
We sure would.
Yeah, 16 yards. And so giving a little life here for this community offense.
In fact, it might be one of the few explosive plays tonight for the Braves. Medlin, facing all sorts of pressure, is able to get the pass away. The wide receiver is able to break one tackle before he is taken down inside the 15 at the Wildcat 13. So now, just over 2 minutes left to go in this game. The Wildcats well on their way to starting district play 1-0. And on top of that, well on their way to being 5-1, winning 5 of their first 6 games. And what a turnaround. Of course, moving down to 4A definitely helps, but man, we cannot stress it enough. It is night and day between last year and this year's team. They have really bought into Coach Brandon Faircloth. And Medlin, the quarterback, taking it himself and is able to get inside the 10 to the 7-yard line. It'll be a gain of 6 on the play, setting up a 2nd and medium of 4.
Wildcats changing their defensive package out with 4 players, 5 players switching out on that particular play, so changing something up.
Could be the last we see of them tonight, as there's just 75 seconds left to go on the clock. 2nd and 4 for the Braves, hoping to get one final score to make this final score a bit more respectable. And he had a man, but sailed it high. It did kind of reach his hands before it bounced up and out. So I believe that was number 8 was the intended target. Might be 6.
Maybe so.
Either way,
more players.
pass.
Yeah, more players getting switched out to let some of the other Wildcats get some reps in as the clock continues to tick down. It's at 104. Steady at 104 on that incomplete pass. So just a couple more plays left in this ball game as the Wildcats are headed to a big win over Nevada Community.
Lots of motion from the Brave offense, taking a lot of time to get set, but having to call a timeout as the play clock hit 0. So we're going to take a quick timeout with them and be right back for the conclusion of this game. Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. Just 62 seconds left to go between Wildcat football and a 1-0 start to district play. The Braves do have the football, though. They have a 3rd and 4 at the Wildcat 7-yard line, so all they need is 4 yards to get a new set of downs in what would be a goal-to-go situation. But Community well out of this one as they trailed at the half 21-0 thanks to a Wildcat score with just 4 seconds left to go in the first half. And since then, it's still been just about all Wildcats all the time, cruising to a 37-7 win. And quarterback Medlin gets it out wide to his running back on the swinging it out the flat, but there is a flag down, and it will be for holding as a wide receiver just holding on to his defender there, trying to get a good setting block.
15-yard penalty for the previous spot. Replay, 3rd down.
Wow, they're going to call a chop block on that one. I didn't see that. That's going to be against the offense. So they're going to mark it back 15 yards against Community and play that down over. That's going to take those seconds off the clock. It's down under a minute. 57 seconds left in the ball game. And now it's 3rd and a drive to Hallsville. Is that what you called it? It's
sure
3rd and a
is.
mile. So it looks like about 20. Ball's on the 22-yard line, about 19. They have to get to the 3-yard line. So either way, it's 3rd and a mile for the Community Braves. And so it's going to be looking for a big pass play.
Has elected to take a timeout instead of a 10-second runoff. Community takes the second charge of the half.
So they're going to take a timeout when it's under a minute like that, maybe under 2. A penalty would also get a 10-second runoff, but they're going to like to take a timeout. We're going to take a quick timeout with them, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Welcome back to Gerald Prim Stadium. Just 57 seconds left to go as Sulphur Springs hoping to get one final stop as the Braves face 3rd and a country mile. 3rd and 19 from the Sulphur Springs 22.
Now it's a country mile. There you go. It's going to be a tough uphill battle for the Community Braves. They've got a couple of receivers out here on the left.
And he is looking left, and instead it is immediately picked off by Riley Hammonds.
Riley Hammonds read that one, didn't he?
Oh boy, howdy did he, as he puts the cherry on top, as now the Wildcats can simply take a few knees with no timeouts left for the Braves and just a few victory formations away from a 1-0 start.
Fantastic play by a defensive play by Riley Hammonds, number 7, as he read that play, jumped up, snatched that ball out of the air. making the interception. It's going to be 1st and 10 on the 21 for the Wildcats, but it's not going to matter. It's going to be victory formation as they will back it up and take a knee and count the clock down until they can take another knee, and this ball game will be over.
Oh, driver gets a weird snap instead, just has to kind of run back to it and fall down on his rear end.
Yep. Yeah, I don't think that's driver out there in the quarterback position.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. That's number 19 we have out there.
Let's see. We've got the backup in there taking a snap, and it was kind of
Caden Mitchell.
Not his fault. It's kind of a bad snap, but they're going to back it up, let the clock run down. There's 19 on the play clock, 26 on the game clock, so they're going to have to take one more snap, and when he kneels this one down, the game will be over. Oh, he's going to hand it off.
Snap, but instead, yes, you're exactly right. Hands it off, and he's able to easily make his way through the first line defenders, past the original marker, and that will do it as just 4, 3, 2, 1. Triple zeros on the clock, and your Sulphur Springs Wildcats have officially started district play 1-0. It brings their overall record to 5-1 after a beautiful 37-7 win, winning, well, wire to wire here in this game.
Yes, they obviously never trailed, opening it up 21-0 at the half, and then they just kept that momentum going. 37-7, your Wildcats over the Nevada Community Braves to, like Ross said, open up district 1-0, bringing their season record to 5-1. So great start for this year for your Wildcats. We'll be in. Tell us about the game next week, Ross. Let's see. That's the out-of-town game.
It is. That's at Maybank next Friday.
Right.
So with just 5 district games, we obviously played the first one here tonight. At Maybank next Friday, they're well on their way to a loss, so they will be 3-3 after tonight. The following Friday, back here at Gerald Prim Stadium, hosting a now 1-5 Paris team. So there's a very real chance that Sulphur Springs could go into their final 2 games, their hardest, Kaufman and Anna, undefeated. So that's exactly where you want to be heading into the final and toughest stretch of your season.
Join us here next week, same place on your dial, 12:30 a.m., or you can find us at KSST Radio, a YouTube channel. But we'll be out of town in Maybank, but we'll be broadcasting from there. We hope to have you tune in for next week's game as well. That's going to do it for this game. For Ross Lebinsky, our play-by-play, I'm Chad Young, doing your color commentary. And then, of course, we had Matt Jansen on our camera tonight with James Terry back on the board at the station, keeping us all on the air. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you here next week for Wildcat football.